Hello, everyone. You've
Oh,
caught us in the middle of our lunch break.
uh,
My name is Danny,
I'm Artemis.
and this is the
Unprepared.
Friday Coffee Klatsch.
Usually I have a cold open ready. I had nothing. Oh my
Well,
goodness.
since we faff around so much, I've decided that it's the set time. No matter what, I'm going to press live, and whatever we're doing, we're doing. So that's what we did today.
We are here and somewhat ready.
We are here and somewhat ready. I am still eating my lunch.
And I am
Um,
possibly suffering from laryngitis. I want to, okay, before we go into all the crafty stuff, because I always talk about something before we go into the crafty stuff, I've
well,
had a sore.
wait a
Oh,
minute. Before we do your life update, let me go ahead and just get the stuff in the beginning out of the way. Welcome to our Friday Coffee Klatsch, where we generally front load with yarn because that's what our subscribers come here for. I am going to try to make sure across the bottom I put what we're doing. So if you're watching this later and you don't care about the yarn, you can fast forward to the next thing we're talking about. Okay, right now, it appears that Daughter Mine wants to give a life update. So let's go.
as per usual. Also, how dare anything come before my life update? Um, I have had a sore throat, and maybe you can hear it. I feel like I can hear it because I know what my voice is supposed to sound like to me. But I've had a sore throat for like 6 days, 5 or 6 days at this point. But no congestion. I just sniffed out of, I don't know, making myself think of something. But no congestion, no like snotty, no cough really or anything,
Mhm.
unless I'm like straining my voice. I think I might be getting laryngitis. But laryngitis isn't like, hey Darlene, oh we got Darlene back. Hey Darlene. I think I might be getting laryngitis. But laryngitis isn't like in itself a thing. Laryngitis is like a result of other things, isn't it? Because you can't like catch laryngitis. Laryngitis is just like losing your
Laryngitis is
voice.
just I mean, as far as I remember from my anatomy class, laryngitis is just your throat is, the wear and tear on your throat. And so you're not having your voice.
I don't know.
So
Well,
it's not necessarily a cold or something like that. It's just if you wear your voice down.
I think I know what might have caused it then, because and why it might be, it feels like it's getting a little bit better, but I have been practicing. So we started a new D&D group, or a new D&D game rather. And
Mhm.
in my previous two games that we were playing, I didn't do an accent for either of my characters because I was like, I'm playing two games right now. I want to be able to keep these characters straight, and I don't need to be accidentally focusing on accents when I'm already like accidentally trying to cast the wrong spells and call the wrong names. But we started a new game, and so I'm like, okay, I'm going to do an accent for this new character. And I'm like, I have been practicing my Scottish accent so much. I've been practicing so hard on the Scottish accent. And so what I was doing was every day when I was driving my husband to work, I would practice the way that I practice that makes it a little bit easier for me is I will just play music in the car that I know the lyrics to, and then I will just sing, or more like sing speak those lyrics in the accent, so I don't have to worry about what words are about to come out of my mouth because I know the words that are coming next. I just have to
Uh-huh.
worry about saying those words in the accent. But that has
Mhm.
led to, I guess now, two issues. One, I now have this issue where my head comes up with words faster than my mouth comes out. Like when I'm speaking with no accent, it is just woo, speed line. And so when I'm
Mhm.
trying to like mitigate that in a midsection with an accent, I stumble and slow down a lot. And so I have trouble just keep my mouth keeping up with my brain with the accent, which is a whole other
Mhm.
issue that I will figure out. But
Kind of like when you're learning another language.
yes, where you
You,
know what you want to say, but
you
it
hear the
doesn't.
word in English and then you got to translate it into Spanish before it comes out of your mouth.
Exactly. I am now having to translate into my really awful, honestly, Scottish accent, but it's not. I had to focus a lot. Also, something that I realized is I really had to break down like these letters will sound like this. These letters will sound like this. And I would spend full days like, okay, we're singing a song. I'm going to focus on the short I sound, which for us sounds like eh. For them, it sounds like eh. And so I'm like, I will focus on the short I sound, and then I will focus on the long I sound.
When I say this is a lot of work for like an acting gig that you're not getting paid for.
Yeah, it's a lot of work for 4 hours a week, 4 hours every Friday. But so the other issue that I have now is I apparently am getting laryngitis because I was practicing the voice, and then also I have to speak to like people in my day life, and I'm babysitting, so I'm having to talk to the girls and stuff, and I am apparently giving myself laryngitis. I think it's getting better, maybe. Actually, it feels like it's just kind of staying at a constant level, and all this talking has it. Darlene, I don't know if I can do it. That's the other issue that I'm having is every time we start D&D, I have this panic moment of, will this accent come out of my mouth? Last time we played last week, because we were playing at 8 in the morning, 8 in the morning is not a time for an accent to come out of my mouth. There was one day that I got it, and then the next 8 in the morning D&D session that we had, I was just like fumbling so hard because I was just not awake. But we have D&D today because there was some scheduling changes. So we have D&D today after the stream. It's going to be at 8 p.m. So I will be awake and full in the height of it. So I think I'll be able to do it. Darlene said to practice. I'm trying to think. I can't think of anything to say. Let's have a conversation, and I'll try to fall into the accent.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying because it's the same thing. I've been practicing Spanish with Duolingo, and I'm like, well, Duolingo isn't the only thing I need to like actually speak to somebody because I can recognize the words when they're written. That's not the problem. My issue is that when I hear someone speak it, I get flustered. And so every time we have our Sunday game group, when Ari pops in, excuse me, I always say, oh, I'm going to, say a few words to Ari. And then I can't think of a single thing to say that would make sense other than, I have a daughter or, nothing conversational to say when he pops in other than hola.
Yeah, that's the good thing about playing in a D&D group is you're playing a character, so you've got things that you've got to say to your to the other players, but trying to I can't think of words. I have not practiced in a couple days because our car is also broken down, so I haven't been practicing in the car.
I thought your car was fixed.
I thought so too. It shut down the other day. Oh, I had something stuck in my teeth. It shut down the other day. My husband was driving to the grocery store to get groceries, and then on the way back from the grocery store,
your orc was driving.
Oh, I say he was in the car while my roommate was driving. Yeah. 75 and learning English. Oh my goodness. English is like the worst language to try to learn. English is such a hard, weird, stupid language. When you look at how other languages are set up, English is like the worst.
Because we borrow words from everybody else's language and bastardized them, and so it's a mess. So, darling, what is your native language?
Yeah, what is your mother tongue? I hope it's not the language that I sort of speak, so I don't have to try to remember words.
And if it's Spanish, I'm in trouble because I already told you I can't say anything.
Yep. But yeah, that is my life update. What is going on in your little bubble of the world?
You don't want to know my life update. I mean, nothing crazy is going on. It's the same old, same old. I feel very tired a lot. And I'm just tired. So, but I have to push myself to do the things that I need to do. Otherwise, I'd lay in bed all day.
I feel it.
So let's move on to some yarny talk.
Yes, I have various things scattered around me. I need to go grab those.
Okay, so are you going to show your stuff first, or am I going to show my stuff first?
Well, I want to start off by saying I've been switching rooms back and forth, and I switched to the nice backdrop room in my office, meaning I forgot my sweater in the other room. Um, but we spoke a little bit. I think we spoke a little bit on the stream, and then I know you and I have spoken. I have not gotten any work done on my sweater because I was leaving my sweater alone for a little while to let her catch up. Because I want this to be a crochet along, not a crochet Maya finishes and then mommy decides she doesn't want to finish because Maya's already finished with her sweater.
That was a mistake.
Tell me you got some. No, now we got to bring it up. Tell me you got some work done on your sweater. Where is your sweater?
You're not even going to let me finish eating my food?
No, because I don't have any food, so you can't finish yours. All I have is water.
This is a coffee Klatsch. You're supposed to have coffee.
Well, I do not have any. I couldn't go get any coffee because my car is broken down.
You don't have coffee in your house?
No, we ran out of. We don't have any more coffee to make in the house right now. We should have got it when they were going grocery shopping. Okay. That's not like too far away from where I am. I think I want to say you're maybe
it's far away from where you are. This is about 12, 13, 14 rows maybe. Not counting the border bottom.
It looks bigger on the camera.
Not counting this on the bottom. Because I have to do, starting from here, I have to do 78 rows.
Yeah, I have to do about 78 as well.
And I have about, I think, 14. It's hard to count them.
It is. That feather stitch doesn't make it easy to count how many rows there are.
You can't count it because one kind of smushes on top of the other. So you can't really count it like you do.
Yeah, I've been relying religiously on my row counter that I have on my phone because
I've been using the row counter, but I think I'm off by at least 1 or 2 rows.
I feel like I might be off as well, but as long as it's fairly close, especially since the one I'm making is for me, if it's a little bit off, I'm not super concerned. And I imagine that because I'm adding the organic stripes in mine, and so I imagine that it will kind of mask if one like panel is a little bit shorter than the other.
But so that thing, I have to unravel some more yarn to feed that beast because I've used up almost the entire ball of the entire skein of what I had. This is, I started with a brand new fresh skein.
Yeah.
And this is what I have left. So out of my 395 yards so far, this is all I have left.
Yeah, I've got a little bit less than that of my persimmon color.
This does not feel like it should be 395 yards.
Right? Because I have almost 2 full skeins in mine because I've got like barely anything left in the persimmon and I've got about that much left in the charcoal that I was working on. And so it's almost 2 full skeins in the section that I have, which is, I wish I had it with me, but it's about yay big. Honestly.
It's eating yarn.
It really is. That stitch eats yarn. Also, anybody listening, tell me if I'm coming in kind of hot. I know that when I wear this headset has the best microphone because you can't hear as much of the echo in my room, but it also is right next to my face and my loud voice. So let me know if I'm coming in hot. I can try to adjust my own volume, but that I'm not going to maintain that for very long.
I should probably put my headset on, but I don't feel like it. So hopefully I don't sound like trash to you guys.
You sound good to me, but I know that listening to the videos afterwards, I know that myself, I usually hear an echo in the room, so I'm trying to mitigate that. Things that I've got with me today. So I pulled out because we discussed, because our last stream was 2 weeks ago, I was telling you I dug up an old skirt that I was making, and I was trying to decide if I wanted to take it apart or finish it, and you're like, finish it, you got so far, finish it, but you hadn't even seen it yet, so I want to show you. It's covered in dog hair. We are going to ignore that it's covered in dog hair, okay?
I can't see dog hair. What are you talking about? So cute.
It is in black, so it's so hard to see. But I made, so we got the waistband, and then...
Oh, that is cute.
Yeah, it doesn't have any buttons or anything. I just made a waistband, and then just started... Essentially, I made double crochets. I did the waistband, and then I did double crochets around the bottom edge of the waistband, and then I just did 2 double crochets in every double crochet, and then I did that again, 2 double crochets in every double crochet, and then again 2 so this is like so many stitches going around for these ruffles. It's really cute. It's just a lot. I wonder if I could just keep doing the double crochets like straight down and not add anymore, and if it would keep kind of the ruffly pattern that it's got going on. We'll see. But that is the skirt, and I had to clip the string because
so you're not following a pattern. You just kind of made this up as you went.
Yep.
Oh Lord.
I was winging it.
Whose child are you?
I'm the child of chaos.
I am not a winging it woman.
I mean, if it's something really simple, I can wing it. Like I always feel like I could wing a scrunchie. I could wing that skirt was super simple because I was like, you just make the waistband and then you make stuff that goes underneath it.
No, you are speaking another language. No comprende.
Je comprends. You just wing it. I understand. You just wing it.
No.
But so that's that skirt. I'm still trying to decide if I want to take it out, honestly, because that's a lot of black yarn that I could use for something. It is cute. I just don't know if I want to actively finish it.
So this week I'm trying to I texted your Aunt Kelly because I made those 2 sweaters for her grandbabies.
Yes.
But the box has been sitting there for a few weeks, so I'm like, babies grow fast.
You gotta check the sizes.
I better check and see what size these babies are, or I might be wasting my time sending this box. So I texted her, and they are the exact size right now that I made of these sweaters.
So send them now.
The box has to go. So this was last week. So I'm like, well, let me see if there's anything else I want to make to go in the box.
No, send the box now.
So I give myself the deadline of this Saturday.
Okay.
To send the box out. But this was last Saturday. So I said, I've got a week. Is there anything else I want to send in this box? So
you dug out the loom.
I got the loom out. Because I've been thinking about the loom. I've had these looms for ages. And I've been thinking, I have the whole set of these, which are called Nifty Knitters, for those who are in the know. If you know, you know. I have the whole set of Nifty Knitters. Plus, I have the purple rectangular one. Plus, I have a finer gauge sock loom one that's rectangular and you can adjust. So I have all the looms. Do I use any of them? No. I also have a pom-pom maker. But I got these looms back when your father was interested in
loom knitting.
And your sister still uses the blanket he made on that loom. But anyway, let me show you what the picture looks like first, because you won't be able to get a sense of it with me holding it up because it looks weird. So let me show you the pattern first. Because I was just determined to make, and this is good because it also happened to be yarn that I bought a million years ago.
Hey,
can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, so this is what I made.
Super cute.
This is a Spanish speaking creator who has a lot of patterns, but most of them are in Spanish. On YouTube, and you go to her site and it's kind of iffy to get to the instructions, but I finally got to the instructions and figured it out. And you can see there's like knit and then there's bands of purl. I have discovered I hate purling on the loom. On the loom because it hurts my hand. Because when you knit on the loom, all you have to do, I'm going to shut this down. But when you knit on the loom, all you have to do is like, you have this and you just take your hook and you just go over. When you purl on the loom, you have to put the yarn across the bottom, pull the yarn from the top through, and then take it off, and then put the new loop back on. So there's no way you can do that.
So you gotta like Goop?
With the hook, yes, unless you are just terribly coordinated, you can't do this all with the hook. So you do part of it with the hook, and then you got to take your hand and pull it up, and that was just making my fingers cramp.
Yeah, that sounds annoying.
I couldn't find a way to do it that was just not. So I did one band of purling like the pattern said.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna wing it.
Oh, what happens if we don't wing it?
Shut up. I mean, at least I had measurements of what to do.
I had no measurements. I made, when I was making that skirt, I made the band. I was like, this will fit around my waist.
All I
Keep
did
going.
was change. All I did was change the stitch. To me, that's not really winging it. If I have the basic measurements of how it's supposed to go and the structure of how it's supposed to go. So, this is the hat. It's made out of size 6, which is super bulky.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't really. You asked me the other day, is it hanging? See, it doesn't really hang because it's kind of stiff.
Well, if it'll hang when you push it down, that's still fine.
Yeah. See, it's kind of stiff.
Mm-hmm.
But so I'm gonna put this in the box for the kid's mother, your cousin,
Mm-hmm.
because she has locks. She's
okay. Yeah, I've not seen her hair in a while, so I do not remember what hair she has right now.
She has locks, so this is gonna go in the box.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, last night when I was supposed to be working on that beast, I cast on another Mila sweater.
Which one's the Mila sweater?
I cast on another Mila sweater, but
is that the little boy sweater that you made?
No, that's the little girl sweater.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about now. The one that you said was super, super quick, but you like ran out of yellow or something.
Yeah. So
Yes, okay, yeah, I know exactly, yeah. Why are you casting on more sweaters?
Because I have 2 more skeins I have purple and green in because I had that bag of Karen Simply Soft, that grocery bag of Karen Simply Soft leftovers that I got to do something with. And I said I have enough of the purple and green that will finish off that I can make another, because I have more of that than I had with the first sweater.
Yeah.
So I have enough that I can do the sweater in purple and then just have green, around the waist.
Who are you making this sweater for? You're supposed to be finishing the sweater for my sister.
I was going to throw it in the box, but then after I was doing it last night, I realized, you know what? I am overestimating how fast I can crochet, and this box needs to go on.
It needs to go now before they explode in size.
Exactly. This box has to go on Saturday because your father is going to UPS to send some other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, because they messed up on an Amazon order or something, so he has to go to FedEx or UPS to send it back and get his refund.
Mm-hmm.
Side note: he ordered some stuff. He ordered some sneakers and some other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They sent him something totally unrelated. How about these were markers that were on my wish list?
What? Are you keeping them?
No.
You should have kept them.
No.
What kind of markers were they?
No, he needs to go ahead and get his money back because they weren't just the small thing of markers.
It was like a full 48, 72.
Honey, this was 100 and something. This box. Let me see.
What kind of markers were they? Were they like alcohol markers?
This box of markers is as big as this box.
Oh my goodness. That is a lot of markers.
And they're alcohol markers, and it's heavy.
Mm-hmm.
It's heavy. The box feels like it's at least 6 or 7 pounds.
Yeah, alcohol markers. Yeah, it's a lot of markers. I have my like tiny little satchel of alcohol markers behind me that are. I'm missing so many markers out of this. This used to be 48 markers. And I'm missing so many markers out of there because I would take them out and put them in another bag. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to use these 3 colors for this illustration. And then I'll work on them. And then I'll leave those markers in the bag. And I'll take out more markers and then put them in another thing. And so now all the only colors I have left are like yucky yellows and like grays and like poopy greens and just the ugliest colors I don't want to use on anything, but they're the only ones I have left because I don't know where all my pretty colors are.
So while we are on yarn, before we switch,
Yes.
Anything else you've made?
Yes. So I showed this. I just want to show it again because so the bag that I was doing the color work for, I finished the back panel for it. So it is now.
Oh, that looks so nice.
It is now a pouch, and now I just have to figure out what I'm doing for the
handles.
For the handles, yeah, I don't know because for it to lay flat, I need to do them on the corners.
Knitting or crochet?
This is crochet.
Okay.
Yeah, this is color work crochet. So I need to make the inside of the bag. I need to make the lining for the inside of the bag, and then for it to lay, like if it was going to be a crossbody bag and for it to lay flat like this, the handles need to be on these 2 corners. I'm once again winging this. Like I found this art and crocheted that out, and then just winged it and made a back panel for it, and single crocheted them together on the inside, and now I have to wing making a strap for these.
I would suggest looking at some of the bag patterns on Ravelry, because I would say make some sort of like wide strap, not just like a little skinny cord strap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think a wide strap would definitely be good. I just don't know if I want to make just a wide plain strap or if I want to do some sort of like, I don't know, alternating pattern or something with it. Mm-hmm. But I got that. And then did you have anything else or is it just me?
No.
Okay. I have been making, and I can't remember if I said this on stream, and this is what I'm going to be working on once we're done showing off the stuff. But I've been making cup cozies for the restaurant that my husband works at. And so I have, let me see, what do I have in here? So I've been making, these are knit. I've been making rainbow cup cozies because they are a very like LGBT friendly, pride friendly, like safe space area. And so I made some of those. I'm making them kind of in sections because I'm making you look like a Dr. Seuss character. You just need to flatten the thing down. Why is it sticking up like that?
I'm showing you how stiff it is. You just move it and it just stays there.
See, that looks more normal. That looks like a cute little slouchy cat. Now would you stick it straight up in the air?
I'm more worried about this part right here.
Well, the brim looks fine. I'm not concerned about the brim whatsoever. The brim looks absolutely fine.
But that's the part I always have problems with when I make these type of hats. I've only made them a couple times, and the brim has been, oh no, now my hair is going to show.
Ooh. Should have thought about this before you started doing stuff.
I know. I was just being silly.
But I'm making the cup cozies. I had a few like trial and errors, and so I think I have narrowed down like the way that I want to do it. I found a couple other cup cozy patterns, and I'm kind of like altering them. Because one, I need it to be I need it to specifically fit the cups and fit my gauge that I never check, and so I will make a full cup cozy and use that to check my gauge. But one of the patterns that I was working with had like a ribbing in the black here, but I decided to take out the ribbing because the ribbing just took too long and I kept miscounting because it was like you knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one, and then you do the opposite going back the other way.
You knitting these?
Yes. These are all knit.
Okay.
But it was knit one, purl one, and the ribbing part was just taking far too long because I kept having to go back and recount to make sure that I was doing the right stitch, and it wasn't like simple enough for me to be able to do while like watching something because I kept having to focus, am I knitting or am I purling? And so I decided to drop that and just do I always get them confused. I decided to do garter. Garter is just straight knit, 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 right?
Yes.
Okay, so I did for the black sections are garter, so it's a little bit raised, and then the rainbow section is knit a row, purl a row, knit a row, purl a row, which is stockinette.
Yes.
Hey, I got it right for once. So I did garter for the black, so it's a little bit raised, and so it kind of gives the illusion of that little raised section. And then I did stockinette for this, so it lays flat, so it's very like kind of distinct. But I also have been making. I've been using some plastic canvas because the restaurant that my husband works at is called the Yellow Mug. And so I've been making these little yellow mugs. Ta-da.
Oh, those turned out even better than I expected. Oh,
Yeah, I've been
so
making them on
nice.
plastic. So this is the prototype one because I changed the colors a little bit. So I have one fully completed cup cozy because I wanted to put one together, sew it all together, and see how I liked it to see if I need to change anything before I start sewing them together. So I have one
Well,
completely.
are you going to show them to the people at the store to see if they have any suggestions? Show them before you go really far with them?
No. I mean, the thing that I'm worried
about, if
they're
going to buy them from you, they might want to see them before you make a bunch of them.
I guess I probably should do that. The thing that I'm worried about is, and I've got what would be my finished project here in my hand, but the thing that I'm worried about is if I show them and they're like, oh, well, can you do this, this, and this? Like, I am streamlining this to make them the simplest way that I can so that I don't have to charge them that much for it. Because if they are like, oh, well, can you add this? Can you add that? Can you add this? Can you add that? They're going to end up with $20 cup cozies and not $20 for them selling them, $20 that they need to buy it from me based on the amount of time that it's taking. And I don't want to have to sell them $20 cup cozies. So this is the finished product. So this is how the rainbow turned out. I sewed it together, seam wear. You can barely even see the seam. This has been sitting on the cup for a little while. And so it's a little like stretched out. From sitting on the cup. And so since this one, I have added, I think, 2 extra stitches when I'm starting to make it a little bit bigger because it was also a little bit of a hassle to squeeze onto the cup, and you don't want to be trying to struggle squeezing it onto the cup while you've got coffee in it. So I've made it a little bit bigger so it's easier to put on. And then this is
cute,
the little mug. I had like a slightly different yellow, and then I was like, that's not really showing up, and so I used the orange for the little shading part instead. And I think it turned out pretty good.
It's a little bit lopsided.
Yeah, I know. I realized that once I finished. I was like, no, it's cooking. But yeah, so this is what I've got, and I sewed it on. I did sort of a combination of like whip stitch and also cross stitching to like sew it on. It's sliding off. That's why I made the bigger one so that it would fit better. But this is basically what they're going to look like once I'm done. I'm going to take one of the bigger ones that I've been working on and sew it together and see if that fits the cup a bit better, see how it fits before I make a bajillion more. But
good idea. That looks nice though. That looks nice. Especially the coffee cup looks really good. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. That's the thing that takes the longest because making the actual base of these takes like maybe an hour, probably a little bit less if I'm like actually focusing on it.
Yeah, I've made one cup cozy before, so
yeah, doing that doesn't take very much time. The thing that takes the most time is making the actual little pixel art cups. Doing all the cross stitch for that takes.
Yeah, I've done plastic canvas too, so yeah, I know.
It takes me like 2 hours per cup, which is ridiculous. But I'm still like, I don't know. I'm still working on the technique for that, and so I think I can still pare down that time a little bit. And then the cozy themselves takes about an hour. The thing, it really takes a long time making the cup and then sewing the cup onto the thing and doing all the end weaving. Anything that involves me doing sewing. Oh, but your girl got an improvement. Because remember when I was working with that little plastic yarn needle? First of all, I was working with my little plastic yarn needle. And I got to come in real close for this so that you can see what happened. Oh, there we go. That's better to see. So you can see what happened. Do you see that?
Oh my goodness.
I was pulling the yarn through, and it got stuck, and it just ripped right through my
If I
little
had
puzzle.
known you needed a yarn needle, I could have given you one the last time you were here.
No, it's okay. I went because I needed to go to the store to get all of the yarn for the cup cozies anyway, and so I got myself a nice little metal yarn needle, and it's got the little curve in it that makes me feel fancy.
Good for you.
Yes. Oh, and if anybody was wondering about the yarn that I'm using for the cup cozies, I'm using I love that cotton, or I love this cotton from the Hoblobs. I think that's everything that I've been working on, though. You see me leaning over because I'm in my hammock, and all of my yarn stuff is kind of scattered around me. But I think that is everything that I've been working on.
So are we moving on to what we've been playing?
Yes, I think so. Unless, I mean, there were a couple other things in the Yarny Talk section of our thing, but we have been talking about yarn for 35 minutes.
Okay. So we shall move on to our gaming thoughts.
Yes.
These will be quick, I think. Why are you making that face?
These will be quick, she says.
Why are you making that face? Because I don't have a lot to say because I haven't been playing a lot. First off, I went through, since the last time we talked about this off camera, I went through my notebooks because I'm my goal for this year is to I've been paying for Apple Arcade for 2 years. I didn't realize I've been paying for it for that long.
Mm-hmm.
And the $5 is not killing me, but I got kind of to a standstill last year because the first year I tried a bunch of different games, and then Wildflowers in February just kind of took everything. And even though it only took me like 65 hours playing to finish Wildflowers before the updates came along, I kind of had a Wildflowers hangover and didn't want to play anything else. So I kind of just, fiddled here and there, but couldn't really find a game that I'd settled on. So I was paying for Apple Arcade to pretty much play solitaire because they have a game called Solitaire Stories that I play right before I go to sleep. So my goal this year is I went back through my notebook because when I first got Apple Arcade, I had a notebook that I wrote down everything before I got Apple Arcade to see, is it worth it to me to get Apple Arcade? Okay. And so I had 20 some games or whatever on there, and they've added some games since then, but I had 20 some games on there. So, and I haven't tried all of those games. So I went back through, made myself a new list because my old list has all the cross-offs and crap on it. So I made myself a new list of games I hadn't tried yet. So I want to try those games and then probably get rid of Apple Arcade for a while I try some other platforms or services, or buy other games through Steam or itch.io or GOG, whatever.
Why do you say it like itch.io? Why do you say it like that?
Well, how do people say it?
Itch.io.
I thought it was itch.io.
Everybody that I've heard say it says itch.io.
But it's itch.io.
Yeah.
That's why I say itch.io.
You sound like you're singing Old MacDonald Had a Farm. Itch.io.
Oh, shut up. Anyway, so going through my old notebooks, I found a game on there which is not an Apple Arcade game. Don't know how it made it onto this list. Don't know where I heard about it from. It was called Tiny Room Stories, Town Mystery. And I know I told you about it. Did you get a chance to try it?
Yes, I went through chapters 1 and 2, and I think I'm on chapter 3 right now. I don't know how far you are, so I didn't want to.
Okay, so I'm trying to find a picture to throw up there.
Because I went through, there's the house, and then there's the bank, and I finished the house and the bank. and then the next one is
Okay,
like,
see, I didn't finish the bank.
okay.
I didn't finish the bank. I've got the house. I'm trying to find.
But I liked it. There were only I think there was maybe one time that I really was having trouble figuring out something to do. Like it's a fun little like puzzle solving game while she's pulling this up. It's a fun little puzzle solving game. The premise essentially is you are a detective, I believe, and you get a letter from your father that's like, hey, come to this location. And so you go to a house and there's like, it's abandoned and like and nobody's around, and you keep finding all these newspapers around that are like a month old, so the newspapers haven't been updated. There's nobody on the streets, there's nobody anywhere, and so you're trying to figure out what's going on. And you can see here, you like open things up and you can click and like get things to use with other things. You got your inventory over on the right hand side, and you can like pick up, and yep, that's the one in the bank that you
I didn't
turn
even
around.
get that far.
Really? I will say I did spend a lot of time going back and forth, trying to figure out what is the next thing I can do. I did spend a lot of time doing that. But there was only one thing that I was like, I did end up using, because it has a feature where you can like watch a video and get a hint, and I did
Yeah.
end up having to use the hint one time in the
One
bank. One time, because there was I'm real hard-headed, and so I will go back and forth over and over until I feel like I'm really just not having fun.
No, I get exasperated quicker than you, I guess, because I'm like, I go to all the different rooms, and if nothing, and I click on everything I can think of clicking on, and then if they throw that hit thing in front of me, I'm there.
No, see, I am like determined, and in my head, I'm like, I can solve this. I don't need this hint. I can do this. And so there were a couple moments where I almost did it. Like there was a point where I was like, I don't know what to do here, and then I was like, oh, there's a thing that I have that I see that I can't access. Let me look and see if I can find something to help me access that. There was one section where I had a key to something, and I was like, I cannot figure out what this key goes to. I can't, like, I've got this key. Oh, Darlene's back. I was like, I've got this key. We're talking about games right now and using hints and things. I was like, I've got this key and I can't figure it out. And it ended up being it actually ended up in that, like, in the little trailer that you showed. So you remember in the bank section where it like flips the panel all the way around and there's the TV on it?
Yeah.
The key that I had was for the other side of that panel. So you had to flip the panel back around. And so in my head, oh, you're fine, Darlene. You don't have to explain anything to us. You're good. But in my head, I was like, okay, I have flipped this panel around. I don't need the other side of this panel anymore. That part of this is done. But I had to flip the panel back around to use the key on another drawer on that bookshelf. So there's a free hint for you. In the future, I had to flip the panel to make sure you are flipping that panel back around. But it's fun. I'm like interested in figuring out what the mystery is, where all these people are, because it's a fun little puzzle, and like turning stuff, like I will like wear myself out, like turning the screen around and around and around, and like don't be afraid to like click chairs and move chairs and stuff, and like click on pictures, and because every picture frame there, you can click it and shake it and move it and like all kinds of stuff. Don't like click everything. That's what I was doing. Click everything, even if it sounds silly.
Yeah, I played that for a little bit. I'm gonna go back to it, but I was frustrated, so I think I will just get myself another hint so I can get out of the frustration. Because like I'll get a hint, and then I'll figure out 3 or 4 more things by myself, and then I'll get frustrated again, and then I'll get a hint, and then figure out 3 or 4 more things by myself. I don't. This goes back way back to when I had missed before you were born. And that was before people went on the internet to get hints for games. And I bought a book from the bookstore to give myself hints because I got frustrated in that game. And so I know people are like, oh, well, that's cheating or whatever. It's like, it's you have fun however you can have fun.
Yeah, if you're not having fun, then it doesn't,
I mean,
sitting there struggling doesn't.
it's called a game. It's not
Yeah.
a term paper or a dissertation. It's a game, which means you're supposed to have fun while you're doing it. And if you get stuck, get a hint.
Yeah.
Or sometimes how we've played games in the past. Sometimes, like when we played Red Dead Redemption, I watched you guys play more than I played myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fun enough just to watch you guys play, because I know if I tried to play it, I wouldn't get nearly as far as we did with you guys, working the map, because I can't drive a car in LA Noire and I cannot ride a horse in Red Dead Redemption.
I miss LA Noire. I wish they would make another. I love LA
Have you
Noire
played
so
all the way
much.
through LA Noire?
Yes, we
Oh,
own LA Noire. Yeah.
Oh, you do? I
Yeah,
didn't know.
I liked it so much from the little bit that I saw of it. Was either the little bit that I saw of you playing, or maybe I saw somebody else play. We bought it. I own LA Noire for my Xbox. I love LA Noire so much, and I wish they would make another
they
one.
keep putting it on sale on Steam for like $8.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep saying I'm going to buy it when it's $8, and then I don't.
Mm-hmm.
You know how I am. But that's why I'm trying to get. That's why I'm trying to get through all these games on Apple Arcade, so I will feel less guilty trying to buy a game.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings us to, this is Steam Next Fest this week.
So what is, for the uninitiated, what is Steam Next Fest?
I did not realize it was Steam Next Fest until it had already been going on 2 or 3 days. It is, they do it several times, but I think last year they said that they were going to limit it to twice a year from now on. So Steam, for anybody who doesn't know, games have pretty much gone from, if you're old like me, you may not realize, because your father probably doesn't realize, games have gone from being physical things where you buy the disc or buy the cartridge. I mean, I guess you still can, but for the most part, games nowadays are downloaded, just like movies are streamed from Netflix rather than getting the DVD. And Steam is one of the services where you can download games. itch.io is another one, and Good Old Games, or GOG, is another one. Those are the 3 big ones that I can think of. There's also like Humble Bundle, which they give part of their money to charity or something.
Well, you also, like, because it's not just Steam, because those are for PC, but like on Xbox, so LA Noire, I own the physical copy of LA Noire. Most of the games that I have and own on my Xbox are digital downloads. Like I own maybe 3 game discs that are mine, not Wayne's. I own maybe 3 game discs, and all the rest of them are digital downloads, and it's the same on the Switch. I think the only physical game on the Switch that I own is Breath of the Wild, and that's because my roommate bought it, played all the way through it, said he was never going to play it again, and gave it to me. And so I have that one physical cartridge, and the rest of my Animal Crossing and Ooblets and
you have Ooblets?
Yeah, I have Ooblets. Didn't we talk about that?
No.
Yeah, I'm a good way.
All the games that I look at and think, oh, I might want to try that.
Oh well, we can talk about Ooblets later then, because I've been playing through that game. It's pretty fun. But yeah, on all the systems as well, like PlayStation as well, a lot of them are digital downloads, and so you if you buy the physical game, you get like extra stuff with it. It's like if you get a VIP pass to a concert and you get like t-shirts and stuff with it. If you buy physical games, a lot of times now you'll get like a special case or like stickers that come with it and stuff like that. And so that would be the only reason that people would buy physical games, unless they just like having a collection. But a lot of times people, like on all systems, are just buying the digital downloads.
So Steam Next Fest is that website's festival. They do different kinds of festivals, which are basically ways to showcase games. And usually, like, they'll have one where all the game developers are from Japan, or they'll have one where all the game developers are from Canada, or they'll have several different ones where they're focusing on just games from this developer or that developer, and usually there's games that are on sale during this time. Like all the ones featured during that festival for that week or 3 days or weekend or whatever are on sale. Steam Next Fest is a multi-developer one where they're focusing on, because it's called Next, they're focusing on games that are not out yet but they're about to be out, and they're mostly indie developers. Not these big, when I say indie developers, for those uninitiated, that's people who aren't with the big companies that you think of, like the companies that, like EA, Electronic Arts, which is the company that makes The Sims. That would be considered like a AAA developer, because they're like the big companies, or Microsoft or whatever. This is, indie developers are like Concerned Ape, who made Stardew Valley. He's like, Concerned Ape is like one guy who took 3 years to do all the stuff to make the game.
Yeah.
So that's what indie developers. And with the thing with the Next Fest is there are all the games, in almost all the games in the being featured in the Next Fest have free demos that you can try. But the demos are only available for this week. So they're not like demos that you can download and put in your library and say, I'll get to that eventually.
Oh, so you have to play those demos now.
If you don't play them before the Next Fest is February 6th, February 13th. If you don't play them by the 13th, which I think is Monday, then those
is
things
that coming up that fast already?
Disappear. Yeah.
That means my birthday is next week.
Yep, sure is.
I thought I still had another week.
Nope. It's next week. I already bought you a present.
Oh my goodness. I thought you guys already gave me my birthday presents when I was at the house.
Did we?
You guys gave me my my bone conductor headphones, and there were a couple other things.
Oh, that was from your father.
Oh, okay. I got presents coming.
Maybe it was supposed to be for me too, but I already bought you something else.
Do I look like I'm going to turn it down?
Because I forgot.
Because with us moving and having to pay for the car and stuff, I can't even get the birthday present I was going to get for myself. So you go ahead. Because we've got to save all of our money for the car.
I forgot. And for your vacation at the end of the year.
And the vacation. Everything costs so much money.
But anyway, so the only reason I mentioned Steam Next Fest is because I don't have a list of games yet that I'm interested in or whatever. But I am planning Saturday is usually my day where I look at Netflix and see if there's anything I want to watch on Netflix. But I'm going to use Saturday, this Saturday, tomorrow, as a day to try out a bunch of demos.
Okay. Ooh, well, definitely let us know how those demos go.
Hopefully next week I will have some things to talk about as far as what was on the Next Fest that was interesting to me, because I think there's only a handful of cozy games. I watched a bunch of videos yesterday once it hit me that Next Fest is this week. I went on YouTube and watched, because all the gaming YouTubers, of course, are doing videos of what looks good at Next Fest.
I'm just not watching the right YouTubers, apparently, because I had not even realized that Next Fest was happening.
And well, it falls into two camps. You have the YouTubers who are showing all of the dark games, what I call dark games,
like the scary games.
Not just scary, but I mean they are literally dark.
Oh, they like
the
visually.
Yeah, they are visually dark. They take place in some sort of dystopian universe, and everything is orange and brown and gray and black. And although I think there is a prequel to Backbone.
There is. I know that there is, because that's the only thing that I know of. I was wondering, oh, I wonder if this is going to be on it while you were talking about it, because one of my YouTubers is playing the Backbone prequel, and I was like, no, we haven't played the game. And so it frustrates me I am both happy but also frustrated when my YouTubers play games that I like, because I'm like, I can't watch you play this game because I want to play this game. And so now for the next week and a half, you're only going to be putting out videos of this game, and I can't watch it.
See, when that happens to me, I have to weigh like, okay, I want to play this game, but realistically, am I going to buy this game?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. So let me just watch at least a few minutes of you playing this game.
Yeah, I've been
You know,
doing that a bit more. Like I had to just tell myself and make myself understand that I was not going to get a PlayStation to play the game Stray because I wanted to play that game so bad. I was like, you, in what world right now, within the next year, are you going to get a PlayStation to play this game? And so I finally settled down and watched some YouTubers play that game. But I was like, I do that all the time with like so many games. So I'm like, I can't watch this. I can't watch that. And I'm like, girl, when are you going to play this? When?
I watched a few minutes of people playing Stray simply because I was like, why are so many gamers crazy about cats in games? Like every time somebody starts up Wildflowers, as soon as they get to the cat, everybody goes, "Ooh, a cat!" And the next thing I know they're going to say is, "Ooh, I wonder if I can pet the cat."
Yeah, because you don't like animals. You do not have pets. You do not like pets. And so it means nothing to you.
Absolutely nothing. Which segues into my next thing, which I'm not going to belabor because I know you hate it when I talk about Wildflowers. Why are
I'm
you making that
listening.
face?
I need to cut this yarn to continue working on my thing, and I can see my scissors across the room over there, and I'm connected with headphones.
Silly girl.
I did not. I'm just going to have to. Okay.
Are you going to bite it? Oh,
Nope.
you're so strong.
I'm just going to muscle it. I just hate doing that.
So basically, I'm not gonna spend too much time because I know you hate when I talk about Wildflowers. But Wildflowers, there is a new Wildflowers update coming out this month. And they just announced yesterday on Netflix, I'm not Netflix, but TikTok, they finally announced the date. It is the 24th.
Oh my goodness.
So excited.
So what is this update? What are they adding that's so exciting?
It's the thing that everybody who plays this game complains about, which is Tara can't change her clothes. Tara is the main character
that you play as.
And she can't change her clothes. And she's wearing these city clothes. She's got like this leather jacket and red dress and these little short booties. And she's, working her farm in these clothes. And everybody's like, I wish we could change her clothes. And so they are adding a boutique.
Ooh, cute.
To the game, because there was also, which made me wonder because to back up, about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, the main developer of this game did an extensive interview on one of these podcasts I was listening to. And she said this game is meant to be, because this game has a main story, it is not meant to be like Stardew Valley or Harvest Moon or some of these other farming sims where you can just continuously play.
It's meant to have an end.
It's meant to have an end. You can continue to play if you want to, but the season is not going to change. You're going to be stuck in spring or winter or wherever. I can't remember where the game ends. I think the game ends with, it might end with spring. At the end of the story, I can't remember. I just did the end of the story for the second time, but I can't remember if we ended with spring or if we ended with winter. But basically, it has an actual story arc. So the game ends. So there's not going to be any DLC or updates or anything like that. Well, apparently, since that interview 18 months ago,
she has changed her mind.
She had a change of heart because the fan base has gone nuts. I mean, it's not a huge fan base, but there were a lot of people even before it was released on Steam. And
that has become just like a staple of like cozy game collections,
Yeah.
apparently. Like, cause I hadn't really heard about it until you talked about it, and now
Uh-huh.
every time I see on TikTok a compilation of cozy games, you should try if you haven't already. Wildflowers is already in it. A compilation of my favorite cozy games of 2022. Wildflowers is always in it. Like
Mhm.
I had not heard about it until you mentioned it, and now everybody is on it.
Yeah, hit Steam, which means it was playable on PC. Before then, it was only playable on an Apple device,
Mm-hmm.
on an iPhone or an iPad, and then it went to Switch, and then it went to PC. So, but before it was just on iPhone, and you can think that with all the iPhone, users there are, that a lot of people would have been playing this game, but people acted like they had never heard of it till it hit PC.
I feel like there's a very small margin of people who prefer or who really enjoy playing games on their phone. Most people who, if they want to
Yeah,
play a game, want to play it on like a computer or a console.
yeah, yeah. I know. I know. I've learned a long time ago that people don't think that people who play games on mobile are real gamers.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, the touchscreen is it. Trying to figure out all the different buttons for all these different controls is just too much for me. Maybe once upon a time, when I was younger, I would have figured it out. But at this point, just being able to touch the screen and the
Mm-hmm.
character walks over there, that's what I want.
Yeah, I wish more Switch
You
games, at least the ones that I have, don't really utilize the fact that the Switch has a touchscreen. And I'm like, I wish more games would do that because sometimes I don't feel like navigating all the way across all these things. I just want to tap it. I have the ability
Mhm.
to tap. Why won't you let me tap it?
Exactly. Exactly. So, so basically, but anyway, she originally said that there wasn't going to be any DLC, but then they came out. Then they added the endless seasons, which means you can change the seasons to spring and fall and whatever. Because there are certain things that you need for recipes that you can only get out
During
in
certain
the
seasons.
wild. You can't grow them. You can
Mm-hmm.
only get them like up in the mountains in the winter. So
Mm-hmm.
like I have at least 6 things I can't cook because I need coriander and I can only get coriander up in the mountains in winter. And I have
Mm-hmm.
no coriander. So I'd have to change seasons for that. So they added the changing seasons. And I was going to say before I played this morning, I was going to say that now that because they said they added a few other little interesting quests along with the endless seasons in December, and the main thing that they said that they added was wedding outfits, because before, if your character got married or any character got
She
married,
got married in that jean jacket and boots?
yes, yes,
Bruh.
they got married in what they were wearing, you know
Absolutely not.
and now they have suits and wedding dresses and whatever when you get to the wedding scene. So that's what
Okay.
they added in December. But they also added a few little quests, and they added another festival for the spring, which wasn't in the original game.
Okay.
So I'm waiting for that festival to come up. But there's also, with the quest, the first couple quests I did, it was like, this Wildflowers to me is a story game first. I see you hating on it.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull this yarn. The black one pulled apart so easily, and I'm trying to rip because that's what I do with my acrylic yarn. If I can't cut it, I'll just rip it
Oh, you're
apart.
trying to pull some cotton apart?
Well, that's what the black one was. It was cotton, and it just pop. You saw it. It was so smooth.
Cotton? You can't pull cotton apart. Have you lost your mind?
I did it with the black one. This hurts. I
You
might,
lost your mind.
but I want to continue knitting while we're sitting here talking. But I have no scissors. Oh my goodness.
But to me, Wildflowers is a story game first, and I get frustrated when I see new people, new streamers like on YouTube, pick up the game for the first time on PC, and the comments they are making or the way that they play the game, you can tell that they're used to playing games, farming sims that are
Mm-hmm.
just filled with fetch quests that
Yeah.
don't really have a story. Like the little bit that I played Stardew Valley, or when I played Harvest Moon back in the day. Any story you got out of those games, I mean, they may have given you a sentence or two of dialogue, and then you made up in your head whatever story went after that. Because there's not, I mean, you play Stardew Valley, am I right? There's not a lot of story.
There's not a whole lot. It's primarily the farming and then like trying to go find the person that you're trying to woo or whatever. But there's a little bit of underlying story. Most of the story, like, you really have to talk to people a lot to get like bits and pieces of information of stuff. Like we, Ari and I are playing Stardew Valley right now, and I am going after not Sam, Shane, who works at the corporate like Walmart, Amazon company or whatever that's in town, Jojo Core. And you like talk to him a few times, and it's like, and he's like, get out of my face, don't you have things to be doing, get away from me. And then after a few times, you will eventually unlock a like special scene with the person where they like actually like break down and talk to you for a little while, and it's like a little cutscene, but those are like few and far between.
Yeah. And so the part of the way that people, when they play Wildflowers, when I see new people playing Wildflowers, a lot of things they complain about is I can't change her clothes. I want to hurry up and get to the magic part. I want to, you know, when can I get to the fast? They want to get to everything they've seen in other farming games right away. Like, when is she going to have a broom so that I can hurry up and fly? And when is she going to, it's like, there is a story progression. And this is not just, or I've seen some people who treat the whole story progression as if it's just a tutorial that they have to hurry up and get through.
Oh, what?
Or I'm watching one person who, she asks people in her stream, she does live streams of the game, and she asks people in her streams, okay, what do I do to trigger the next cutscene for this person? Tell me what to do to trigger the next cutscene for that person. It's
you are gonna speed through that game so fast.
Like she already is married to her love interest before the main wedding of the story has taken place. She's already wooed and married her love interest because she was like, I already know who I want to marry. Tell me how I can trigger their cutscenes right quick so we can go ahead and get married.
Bruh, that
before you even get to stuff, and I'm not going to say anything to spoil it here, but the person that she married, she's going to be in for a rude awakening when she gets to the end of the story.
Also, that just doesn't sound fun. Like, part of the fun that Ari and I are having playing Stardew Valley is like, you have to figure out what your person likes so that you can give them the things that they like so that they will like you more so you can eventually like marry them or whatever. And so part of the fun is like, we have these separate boxes that we keep on our farm of like, we haven't given these things to our person yet. And so we'll go and take them a thing and they're like, I don't like this. And we're like, oh no, they hate us now. And like try to figure out the thing of like of what to give them.
And you would think that these people want a game, because everybody talks about Stardew like it is the end all be all. But for me, just what little bit that I've seen, there's not enough story in Stardew for me.
Yeah, like I said, it is few and far between. So much so that like whenever somebody has a big cutscene, we will like stop everything because it's me and my friend Ari. We're playing online with each other, so we're not in person playing with each other. And so we will stop everything. Like I will, even if I'm walking to go do something, I will just wander around and listen while he is explaining his cutscene. He will like give the dialogue of the back and forth of what's going on, and he'll do the same for me. Of I will say, oh, it's me and Shane, and we're like, and I'm at his house, and oh no, he's like drunk, passed out on the floor, and I've got to like wake him up, and I had to splash water on him, and oh no, the little girl saw that he was drunk and she had to like fully explain everything because that is the only story that you're gonna get.
But I'm glad to say that they have added. I thought there would not be any more cutscenes because it's still fully voiced, even with the new quests that they've added, even with the little fetch quests they've added. They are fully voiced, but they're not they're not quite like, they're more like fetch quests. They're like, oh, I want to make some soup because it's cold out, but I'm out of carrots. Can you grow me some carrots? And then you grow some carrots. You take them the carrots. They're like, oh, thank you for the carrots. This soup is going to warm me good. And then that's the end of it.
Yeah, it's not really adding anything to the story.
To me, that's like a fetch quest. That's not really adding anything. But they have added some things where you do the thing and you take it back to them, and then there's like a bunch of story and a cutscene that comes with it. So I'm glad that they've added that. And in February, they're going to add the boutique, which I think they foreshadowed a little bit, because the character Violet, who is going to have the boutique, she has said several times in the game, she just fell into running the florist shop. She doesn't really like flowers that much. She would rather be a fashion designer.
Yeah, that sounds like foreshadowing to me.
So I'm like, so when I first heard that in the game, I thought, oh, they're going to add in some sort of boutique or something like that. And then the other guy who's the carpenter, he's a carpenter, but he just kind of fell into that. He really likes flowers.
So he's going to take the flower shop. She's going to have a boutique.
I'm wondering if that's going to be another piece that they'll add maybe later in the year. Even though they said they weren't going to add a bunch of DLC to this game, but
yeah, I know that you said that you were not super fond of people saying this when you're watching them in the streets and stuff. I fully believe that any kind of game like this, any kind of game where you have a character and you're running around, you should be able to change your character's outfit. Like, even if it's just a little, completely. You should be able to do it in every game.
I'll be honest. I didn't need any customization like with the hair and stuff like that. I'm fine with her vaguely, Latina looking face. But
if it's a named character and that's the character you have to play name, that's fine. I can be Miss Wildflower Witch. I don't care about that. I want to be able to change her outfit and her hair. Like, she can be whoever she is. I want to, and she can have her face look however, but I want to, if she has long straight hair, I want to be able to put that long straight hair in a ponytail. If she has curly hair, I want to be able to put that curly hair in some pigtails and puffs or something. Like, you can be who you are. I just want to be able to change the way you look for your things.
No, I don't feel like I need to, as much as I have enjoyed what they call doll makers in the past, I don't feel like I need to change what she looks like. But I have to agree with other players that it did bother me a little bit that she is farming, or it's the middle of winter, and they make jokes about it in the game. Like, somebody will ask her, aren't you cold wearing that skirt in the middle of winter and there's snow on the ground? And she's like, yeah, I know, but it's my favorite dress. And I feel like it, even if they didn't give us a boutique or anything, if they had just added where you could change her from the dress to like some overalls while she's working around the farm, and then she can change back to the dress when she goes to the bar,
or some jeans or something.
Just one outfit change would have been fine with me. Just some work clothes. That was all I needed. She didn't need a whole bunch of clothes, just some work clothes. That was the only thing that bugged me. Or if she had come into the game wearing jeans and sneakers, and then that's all she wore the whole time, that would have been fine, because at least you can work in jeans and sneakers. But she's running around in this leather jacket and this red mini dress and boots. It didn't go. But that didn't stop me from enjoying the game. That didn't stop me from enjoying the game.
Yeah, it wouldn't stop me from enjoying the game, but I would be irritated about it. Like, that is my favorite thing about any game that I play. I'm in the middle of playing Ooblets right now. There's no reason to change your outfit, your hair, whatever. But I will frequently, because the barber is one of my favorite characters in the game. This is also another game where there's not really a lot of story, but the characters are quirky and interesting, and so I like them. And the barber is one of my favorite characters, and so I will frequently just go in and talk to him and like change my hair just because I put on a mustache for a little while, just to have one. Like I will go in and change my hair color and everything. And I like to collect the outfits. That's one of my favorite things in Ooblets. I like collecting the clothes in Ooblets. And then also when I was playing Saints Row the Third, Wayne, anytime Wayne saw me playing that game, he would make fun of me so much because Saints Row is essentially a Grand Theft Auto, but like real goofy. Like you're in a gang, you're actually the leader of the gang, and you're just running around like fighting mascots and fighting the rival gangs and like trying to take over your town or whatever. And but he would make fun of me because I would spend so long going around town finding all of the shops when I first played the game, and then I had memorized where all the shops were. So every playthrough that I did of the game, because I played through that game 4 separate times, and every playthrough that I did of the game, I since had memorized when each of the missions were and what you were doing for each of the missions. So I would go and I would change clothes for each of the missions to make sure I had appropriate clothes for each of the missions. And then there was one game where I played through where I was like, okay, so right now my character is in his goth phase. So he has a mohawk and like is wearing all black. And now he's going through his preppy phase. And so he's wearing button downs and cute little khakis. And now he's going, so many outfit changes. Fully so many outfit changes. Sometimes I would log into the game just to change the outfit and then log off. Like, it's one of my favorite things to do.
You're so crazy. You're so crazy. But I mean, I can understand that feeling though, because back when I got the original version of The Sims, that's all that game is about, is changing clothes, decorating your house. I used to go online. There used to be websites where you could go and download pre-made outfits. Mm-hmm. You know, when the game first came out, I don't know what people do now, but you used to be able to download pre-made outfits and stuff like that. And I used to just collect all kinds of outfits and things for the rooms and stuff like that. But I don't have the taste for that anymore. Look at you.
I was able to rip the other color because I unraveled it a little bit and was able to rip it. And this one is just, I feel like every color that I pick up is stronger than the last, and I'm just having trouble.
After we finish, it's getting weaker.
After we finish this wildflowers conversation, I'm getting up and picking up my scissors.
Go pick up your scissors now.
Okay.
Go pick up your scissors now. So, while she's picking up her scissors, we've already talked about Steam Next Fest. I shall come back and report on what I have played. I'm going to try to at least sample several different games and make notes so that I can, because I tend to fall into the same simple games because I don't have to think about them, and also because I tend to play games while I'm watching television. The only time I don't do that is first thing in the morning is my quiet time before I start working. And so that's when I tend to play games I don't have my television on or anything. And I play games that require me to think a little bit more. Besides Wildflowers, I've also been playing. Oh, I want to say this quickly. I don't want to get into an extensive thing about it, but I've been playing. Playing is a strong word. I do it during my reading time, so it's more like reading than playing. We talked about how Netflix has games that are included with your subscription. Mm-hmm. So I downloaded Love Island the game. Okay, because not Love Island the game. I had played Love Island the game 2 years ago. I downloaded Too Hot to Handle the game. And right after, and I'm kind of messing with that. It's annoying me a little bit because I'm to make it more of a game for me. I'm trying to do what we've always said when we watch the TV show, which is I'm trying to make sure that my character does not break the rules with anybody. Okay. For anybody who's never watched Too Hot to Handle, it's a show where the characters the people on the show don't realize they're on the show at first, and then they think that they're at a Love Island kind of show where they can just have sex with everybody, and then they find out they're on Too Hot to Handle, which means there's a pot of money, but every time you kiss or self-gratify or have sex with somebody else, money comes out of the pot. So
and you would think that all of these people would be like, oh, okay, well, let's all sit in our separate spaces until the end of the show and we'll all get this money. Because
you're only going to be on this island for like 3 weeks.
Also, there's always somebody on there who's like, oh, I could use this money to pay for college. I could use this money to help get myself a house. So like real things that this money would help, but they are all over each other.
Like they don't know any better. And we always watch the show and say, it's 3 weeks. You can control yourself for 3 weeks.
Exactly.
Especially since you didn't know these people before you got there.
Exactly. They're all randos. You can't keep yourself off of some randos for $50,000.
So I'm playing the game version of that. But this game is determined to, for some reason, in the game, my character, who's back? We're back. Are you talking about us, Ronald?
It's us. Yeah, Ronald just dropped in.
Yeah, you missed all of our crazy random talk. But so the Love Island, the game, every character in the house apparently has the hots for my character, and I'm having to beat them all off with a stick. So that's about all the story there is to that game. There's one girl in the game who is my character's friend. She's not trying to get in my pants. She is my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And then every other character is trying to get at me. Okay. But at the same time, that right after that game came out, Apple Arcade had one thing about Apple Arcade is in addition to their originals, they have their games which are Apple Arcade versions of games that are already out. Like there's Monument Valley, right? You've heard of Monument Valley, right?
Yes. Oh, I've watched a playthrough of Monument Valley. It looks gorgeous.
Okay. There's Monument Valley where you have to buy it. But then there's Monument Valley Plus, which is in Apple Arcade, where you don't have to buy it. There's no ads or whatever. And so they have several games like that, which are the plus versions, which means if you get the regular version out on the App Store, you either have a bunch of ads or, hush, Ronald, you either have a bunch of ads or whatever, and then you get the version inside Apple Arcade, no ads, full game. Okay. So they just put an episodes version in Apple Arcade. Episodes is another one of those story type games where you basically have choices. You're basically reading choose your own adventure almost with pictures.
Mm-hmm. With drama.
With pictures. And they put one in Apple Arcade, but it only had like 6 stories in it. And only one of the stories I was interested in. So I did that story. That's fine. And then I was like, wait a minute. Let me see what the regular episode looks like. Have they changed it? And I went back to the regular episodes that you pay for, and tons of stories. Tons of stories. And none of the stories, so the 6 stories that are in the Apple Arcade version are not in the episodes version. Because a lot of times stuff that's in Apple Arcade is exclusive, or not in the episodes version. But you also don't get, like when you play episodes, you get like, spend 20 gems and you can put the really cool dress on your character before she goes to the party. Or whatever. So I'm like, okay, that's annoying. So I read the one story in episodes that I was interested in, and I deleted it. And then I thought, well, let me see these other, because I was kind of in the mood for that kind of story now, and Too Hot to Handle wasn't giving me what I wanted, because they're not deep stories.
Yeah,
they're light, but it's a fun thing to look at while I'm waiting for my food to heat up in the microwave. Okay, not Too Hot to Handle the show. I can't remember if we watched season 3 of Too Hot to Handle, Ronald. Um,
I don't. I think you and I watched season 2. Maybe she's talking about Too Hot to Handle the game. We did watch one season of Too Hot to Handle. I just can't remember
I've
which
seen
season
2
it was.
seasons. I've
Well,
seen at
I've
least 2 seasons
you
of
and
it.
I only watched one season
You and
together.
I watched the second season. I
Okay,
watched the first and second season. I don't think either one of us have watched the third season.
I've only watched
Think.
the one that we watched together.
I don't think. But Too Hot to Handle is crazy talk.
It
It's
is.
crazy talk. Have you watched the previous seasons, Ronald, or is this your first time watching it? While we're waiting for that answer from him. So basically, what I was saying was that I went to choices, and it was just a reminder. We're going to segue into TV talk since Ronald is dragging us there, kicking and screaming. But just kidding, Ronald. But what I was going to say is that I was in the mood for that kind of thing because it's light and I can read it while I'm waiting for my food to warm up or whatever. So I said, well, let me go check out Choices just to remind myself. Choices is by a company called Pixelberry, and they have Choices is the best one, but they have the best stories. But
you have to pay for them.
But they really make you feel bad when you do not spend those gems.
Oh,
Gems, you can earn gems slowly, or you can pay real money and get a big old pack of gems.
mm-hmm.
Okay. But like every time there is a fun thing, like the story I'm reading right now is this girl has fallen in love with this prince, but he has to pick somebody from this party festival thing. And so there's all these other women who are there who are royalty. And this girl is just a waitress from New York, but she's trying to fit in. Okay. So he can't really spend as much time with her as he wants to. So there'll be these fun choices of like, well, after this party's over, we can sneak down to this coffee shop and go get cronuts or whatever. But you got to pay 20 gems for them to sneak down to the coffee shop.
Oh.
And if you don't pay the 20 gems, then your character will be like, oh, I guess I should just go to bed and do the right thing. And then the prince will give you the sad face and go, yes, I guess that's the best thing.
That's hilarious.
Or like they're going on a winter adventure and they have this really nice winter outfit for her to wear that you have to pay 30 gems for. Or you look in your closet and she's wearing jeans and a spaghetti strap black tank top out into winter weather. But the tank top's free.
Oh, that's
hilarious. And the winter outfit is 30 gems, but the tank top's free. And then so you go with the free tank top because I'm not spending gems. And
she's shivering.
And the people who are with you are like, well, I guess you look good in whatever you wear. They really make you feel guilty.
The shade
for not picking the gems, and it almost like ruins the enjoyment of the story. But their stories are better written. There's more things that happen in their stories, and they're better written. But
they said we're going to make you think you don't have to pay for this, but really you need to pay for this game.
Exactly. And if there was a way to like say, okay, pay $5 and then I can just play the game, or pay $2 and let me read this one story and pick whatever outfits I want.
Yeah, instead of having to pay per gems, like per section. Yeah.
Exactly. Pay $2 and you only get 50 gems, but one outfit is 30 gems. You're not getting anything out of that. And you know me and money. I'm not. No.
I feel you. When it comes to games, it's still I paying money for games frustrates me to no end. It still blows my mind that games are something between $60 to $80 now.
Woo, woo. But it's the
Insane.
same with board games. Ronald will tell you that. Ronald's a
Mm-hmm.
board game guy. It's the same with board games. But at least with board games, I can feel it better because there is physical materials. Like like with parks, the pieces are made of nice wood, and there's that nice artwork on the cards and all that kind of stuff. You kind of feel like you're getting your $60 worth.
Parks looks so pretty, but I don't think I will ever play that game again. It took us like 30 years to finish that game. It was so pretty and so nice, but I don't think I'm going to do it again.
You're right, Ronald. They want to nickel and dime you, and
Right?
I understand that about free to play games. I understand that, and I'm old enough that I grew up with TV that had commercials, so I expect to watch ads or not get my stuff for free without an ad or something like that. But that's just too much.
Speaking of TV that has commercials, the two little 6-year-olds that I babysit, they
Okay,
watch stuff.
are we changing? Are we done with gaming?
Yeah, we're gonna segue over to TV and watching things. So the two little girls that I babysit, they are so used to watching like streaming stuff because at their house they have a PBS, like the PBS app on their Roku TV, and then they've
Uh,
got like Hulu and Netflix and like Disney Plus and everything. And so I show them things from my childhood. I show them things for Black folk, like Between the Lions and stuff like that. And and every time Between the Lions, not so bad, but some of the other things that I show them, it's on YouTube, and so there's gonna be commercials,
yeah.
and every time the commercial shows up, they like groan and make noises. Commercial. I hate commercials every single time, and I'm like,
I don't know how I raise children who don't mind commercials because your father's like that. Even though we grew up with commercials, you he is like he can't stand commercials. He now that there's an option to not have a commercial, he can't stand commercials. But the rest of you guys treat commercials like entertainment. You
yeah.
sing the jingles and everything else. You treat commercials like entertainment.
Oh yeah, commercials are hilarious. The only time when commercials really bother me is if I'm like marathoning something and I get the same commercial over and over and over.
Over, yes.
But if I'm getting like different commercials and it's a bunch of different stuff, like it always cracks me up when I somehow end up getting all of the Spanish speaking commercials on YouTube. I'm like, what have I done in my algorithm to make you think that I understand what they're saying right now?
Exactly. I get the Spanish commercials sometimes too. Okay, so I'm looking at the comments. Ronald watched seasons 1 and 2 of Too Hot to Handle based on my recommendation, which was a hot mess show. I should be ashamed that I recommended that to you, but I'm not. I mean, if you know that you're watching trashy reality when you start, then it's not so bad.
I will never be ashamed of recommending trashy shows to people. It cracks me up.
And let's see, it says that he is watching, let's see, season 5 of The Circle. Is that the most recent season, Ronald? Mine doesn't watch.
Yeah, I don't watch The Circle. For some reason it's one of the ones that just has not really caught my attention. I don't know why.
Let's see. I'm trying to look. Okay, I think we did watch season 3 of Too Hot to Handle. Mine.
You and I watched season 3? Okay.
Yeah, I think we did. Because I'm recognizing some of these people. I think we did.
I took 5 years of Spanish, Ronald. I took 5 years of Spanish in middle school and high school, and I don't remember most of it. Spanish, it for some reason had a hard time for me to remember, and then I took like 2 years, or I took 2 semesters of French in high school, and was like, oh, I understand all of the things because that's how my brain works. And so I am not the Spanish speaking child. I am the French speaking child. I could hold a minute conversation in French.
Okay, yeah, season 5 of The Circle. He watched season 5 of The Circle. Are you so you're still watching it now? You're not finished yet. I enjoyed season 5 of The Circle, and I was happy with who won. I'm not gonna say anything else, but I was very happy with who won.
I want to like The Circle. I don't know why I don't. Mm,
What is it about it that doesn't click for you?
I don't know. Maybe because I feel like the stuff that I like in reality shows, the drama that I like, is when they are in each other's faces and saying like absolute nonsense, bold-faced lying to each other, going around each other's backs and stuff, and like sneaking off to other rooms and stuff. And so with The Circle, they're all like kind of in different like houses
Mm-hmm.
essentially, and so it doesn't have the same hit of drama, even though they are still kind of like talking to each other. It doesn't feel like it has the same like hit of drama as it does when they're like in person and somebody could get slapped in the face. Because that was one of the shows when back when I was living at home, Chloe and I would watch Bad Girls Club. Oh, I
No.
love watching Bad Girls. Watching those fights is the funniest thing. I will never forget the day that I saw my favorite fight on that show. There was a girl, so they were in the Bad Girls Club house, and there was a girl upstairs, and they had just come from the club or whatever. And one of the women is a mother, and she's there, and she's upstairs, and they hear outside the window another girl downstairs on the stoop saying, "Oh, she's a terrible mother, and what is she even doing on this show? And she can't do anything." And as soon as the words "terrible mother" came out of her mouth, that girl walked out the room, ran downstairs, full speed, no stop, walked forward, grabbed her by her hair, and kept walking and dragged her out onto the pavement. It was the funniest thing I have seen on television. It was so good. They got into just the biggest fight after, and I was like, oh my goodness. But just watching her full speed, like she had no intention of stopping. She was running full speed and grabbed that woman's hair and kept going. It was so good.
Okay, now if you find that clip on YouTube, I would watch that clip, but I have no patience for that kind of show altogether.
I've got to go find it. It was so good.
That clip sounds amusing. Okay. You want to talk about Traders?
Okay, so you and Daddy have watched like more of it, haven't you? You've watched a good bit of it.
We watched the entire season. Well, first we watched the entire season of the Australian version, and then we were going to watch the British version, but that involves me, running the cord to my laptop, and the American version was just right there on the TV. So I didn't have to run any cords or anything. So let's just go ahead with the American version. Yes, Ronald, a literal wig snatching. Yes.
It was so good. It was so good. It was my favorite. But so Isaac and Chloe and I watched my siblings, for everybody else who's here. We watched the first episode. And we were supposed to watch another episode this week, but scheduling things happened. But we watched the first episode. Alan Cumming cracks me up. I did not know that Alan Cumming was Scottish. I thought that he was American.
How did you think he was American? What planet are you on?
Everything that I've ever seen him in, he had an American accent. The three top things that I can think of that I've seen Alan Cumming in, I can't remember it. I can't picture any other ones, but I've seen him in. He was in Spy Kids when I was younger. Spy Kids,
okay,
1. And he had an American accent. He was like an inventor or something, and he had an American accent. And then the other thing that I've seen him in was, we saw him in Schmigadoon, and he had an American accent in Schmigadoon. And then he was in the 1999 version of Annie, where he played Rooster, and he had that really thick, like, New York accent. The only things that I can picture him in, he had an American accent. So I was like, what? It blows my mind. Yes, I love Alan Cumming. So good. But there's one part of that episode where, because he has his like Scottish like garb and his like kilt and all his like stuff or whatever, and his Spartan and everything. But there's one part, like I think it's towards the end of the episode.
Interview with him. Those are clothes from his closet. This is not like,
I love it.
Wardrobe. Those are his clothes.
That makes this even better, because later on, when they're like finding out who the traders are and they're going up to the tower or whatever, he is wearing this silly little hat. It makes me laugh. Because the rest of his outfits are so good. He looks just very like sharp and like dapper at all times. But that silly little hat, it was just the funniest thing. And it cracked me up every time he was on screen. Oh, it made me laugh. But so Alan Cumming being Scottish took me aback. But watching the show, and I think we briefly discussed this before, but anytime we watch some sort of reality like game show or whatever, if there are more than 10 people, I am not keeping track of all of you. I
Yeah.
do not know all of these people. And so we were watching the show and like so we were like keeping track of, oh, this person's the military guy and he's aggressive and I don't know if I like him. And then there's like the blonde ladies and we immediately like there's the black ladies and we spot them. And then all of a sudden halfway through the show, they are focusing on this black guy and I'm like, who is this black man? How long has this black man been? There's no way that he's been here the whole time. There's no way that this black man has been here the whole time.
Yeah, because you forget who all the different people are because they can't focus on everybody.
I need to rewatch the live action Josie and the Pussycats. I need to rewatch that because I think I've only seen it one time. And so I don't remember any of the actors and actresses in it. I do not recall.
I've seen it once and I barely remember. I think is it Rachel Joe Cook or somebody is in it? I barely remember myself. It was one of those, me, until now that I'm older, I have more tolerance for rewatching things. Mm-hmm. I think it's something that happens to old people where they just get comfort going back to the things that they're used to. Because I used to not rewatch or reread or anything. And now it's like they're just not making anything that I want. So let me just go back to the thing that I know is going to scratch that itch.
I feel like that's a you thing because me in my youth. I will rewatch and reread and replay something to death.
Oh, I know a lot of people because there's a lot of people who read books who have favorite books that they reread every year. And I was like, I am not that person. But then Louise Allen had to make my time after time travel series. And nobody hits all the points the way she does in her series, where these people are time traveling. Rachel Lee Cook, thank you. And nobody hits the points the way I want them hit. So I have reread each of those books like 3 times. Just when I'm in the mood for time travel, I give it a good chance. I go through Kindle Unlimited and try to find a time travel book. And it's like, no, this is going back to the 1600s. No, this is going back to cavemen. No, why are they always have to be Scottish Highlanders? No, I mean, there's just nothing that hits the spot. So I just go back and read her book again. Because nobody else hits the spot. It's frustrating. So that's why I say it must be an old people thing, because you know how old people get stuck listening to the music.
They don't make things like they used to.
Exactly. I find, despite my best efforts, even though I never was a person to rewatch or re-listen or whatever, it is sneaking into me. So it must be an old people thing. But Traders, just in case we didn't go through it last week.
I didn't explain it.
Traders is basically a reality show version of Werewolf, Mafia, Among Us, whatever you want to, where there's 3 people who are the traders and everybody else has to try to figure out who they are. That's basically the whole show.
But there's also like game elements to it, because I was wondering like what all they were going to be doing. So like in the first episode that we watched, they are trying to light this big like torch statue thing, and so the 3 traders are there. They know who they are, but they haven't met the other traders yet, and so they're trying to kind of blend in or whatever. But the whoever wins, so if all the people vote out all of the traders, then they split all the money that's in the pot, and all of these challenges are adding money to the pot. And so the traders, and if it gets down to it and they don't get all the traders, and the traders win all the money in the pot. And so the traders essentially want to continue to win these challenges and get more money in the pot, while also simultaneously like getting rid of people who might find them out. But it is very interesting.
Yeah, and it's in the in the Australian version, the difference is in the British versions and the Australian versions, they are all what I will refer to heretofore as civilians, just regular people in regular life, and similar to the mole.
Yeah,
similar to the mole. Yeah, and there is what am I trying to say? You distracted me, Ronald.
They're all civilians, and
they're all civilians, but in the American version, because we can't just stick with a proven formula, we got to mess with stuff. Half of the people in the house are people who have been on reality shows.
That too, I forgot about that. That's crazy.
So there's people from Big Brother, people from Survivor. Those are the only two shows. Oh, there's the main one who annoys everybody. Kate is from Below Deck, which used to be one of your father's favorites.
Is she one of those blonde ladies? Is she one of the two blonde ladies?
Yes.
I was saying to Isaac and Chloe while we were watching the show, when the traders eventually get together and they're trying to decide who to get rid of, they narrow down the 3 people that I don't like. The 2 blonde ladies who they could absolutely be one person and I would not know and would not care. And the one really like aggressive, like militant kind of guy who was like yelling at people the whole time.
Yep.
Yeah, I am very frustrated though because they left it at a cliffhanger. Like I said, we only watched the first episode, so we don't know who they got rid of, who they were trying to kill. You don't find that out until the next episode. So I'm still like, I have to wait for Isaac and Chloe and I to get together so I can figure out who they decide to get rid of.
See, this is our life, Ronald, and
Darlene, if she's still here.
If Darlene is still here, Ronald and Darlene, this is our life. No, MILF Island, no.
Ooh.
No.
I have not watched MILF Island.
No. I was going to watch that. I was going to watch MILF Island. There was a trailer for MILF Island because what's gross about it is that that's the one that I was telling you about, where it's not, I don't have a problem with older women and younger men, but every one of the younger men is a son of every one of the older women that are
so there. It's guys there flirting with their mom's friends and also like their other buddies flirting with their moms, which is like, what is that?
Yes. But also when they do the confessionals, they have the mom and the son sitting next to each other, and the son is making comments about how the mom has her boobs out and stuff, and how her nipples are pointing out for everybody to see and stuff. It was so gross.
Ooh, I hate that. It
was so gross.
Hate that. Ooh.
Oh, so gross. So gross. I was like, no. I'm pretty sure that's because there's another MILF one, I think. And there was one that was made by the people who made Fuckboy Island, the show that we watched, that we liked.
You and Chloe watched Fuckboy Island. I never watched that show. I may have seen
Did you not watch the first?
Yeah, I was gonna say I may have seen like one episode, but I didn't watch any more of that show. Because our TV watching schedules have not lined up.
It is MILF Manor. That's what it is. MILF Manor on TLC. That's the one that was gross.
Ugh.
MILF Manor is just I don't know if there's a MILF Island, but MILF Manor is the one that was just that I was just describing to you. That was just gross.
Hate that.
Gross. Okay, Physical 100. Have you seen it yet?
I have not. Did you tell me about that? Re-explain what that is.
Physical 100 is It's basically like a physical competition. It looks a little bit like it's a Korean show. And
Oh, I remember you sending me a trailer now. Yeah.
it looks a little bit like Squid Games.
Yes.
Except Netflix is making their version of Squid Games.
Mm-hmm.
And they're having a lot of problems with it. I've heard stuff in the news with Squid Games about like they're not giving the people enough food, and they're having them out in cold weather without proper clothing, and
ridiculous,
just craziness.
That makes me think of all that stuff that came out, just a tiny side tangent, all the stuff that came out after the fact about what is it, America's Next Top Model, how they were treating all those girls.
Okay, Ron, what did you just add to your list? Not MILF Manor, I hope.
Ooh!
What did you just add to your list, sir?
Ooh, maybe Physical 100. That's what I'm hoping for. Oh, like the Beastmaster. Okay.
Oh, okay. Physical 100. Yeah, it's 100 contestants, mostly male. There's a sprinkling of women. They're all different. Like the one complaint about this show is that it is a little bit slow. Mm-hmm. If it was an American show, I think it might not bother us how slow it is when they're showing you like the backgrounds of I'm in the military, I won this award, blah 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 blah, because we don't know any of this stuff. Like when they talk about what contests they've been in, or they're on the national team for this or that or whatever, since it's all Korean,
we don't know.
We're listening to it dubbed. So at least we're hearing it in English, because your father would never read subtitles. But okay, good, Ronald. Thank you. No MILF anything, gross.
No MILF Manor, no none of that. No MILF. But yeah, I understand what you mean. They're referencing like TV shows and contests and stuff that we have no idea what they are.
Exactly, and there's a lot of footage of like some of the contestants walking around going, "Oh, Jo Min Ho is here." I'm just making up a name because I don't remember their names, but like, "Oh, Jo Min Ho is here. Oh, I used to watch him when I was little. Oh," and there's a lot of that, and that gets old after a while when it's like, hurry up and get to the contest.
Mm-hmm. When you don't know any of these people,
you don't know any of these people. I think if it was American and we knew who these people were, then it wouldn't bother. It doesn't bother me as much, but your father's impatient,
mm-hmm.
and so he watches it. But
yeah, that's
like, if it takes too long to get to the contests and stuff. Like right now, we're in between two shows we're watching, and I asked for the past 3 nights. I've asked him, "Do you want to watch Physical 100 or do you want to watch the Big Brunch?" And he's like, "The Big Brunch." Mm-hmm. So because I think he's kind of tired of how slow it's going.
That sounds like absolutely the kind of show that I would put on 1.5 or 2 times speed and speed through some of the stuff and then like slow it back down whenever it gets to the actual competition part.
I don't know if I can change the speed on.
It's on Netflix?
Yeah.
You can do it. I know you can do it on the computer. I believe you can do it on the phone. I don't know about on the TV.
Well, I will check, because I figured out that I can change the speed on YouTube videos on the TV. So
yeah,
I will see. That might help because
it'll speed through the talking. But like, if you catch something that maybe you want to hear, you can like slow it back down or rewind it. That's why I watch stuff on 2 times speed or like 1.5. So I don't because if I skip ahead, then I feel like I could be missing something that might be important or that I want to hear. Whereas if I watch it on 2 times speed, it's like skimming. And so if I happen to hear something that I think is important, I can just back up and play it at normal speed.
Yeah, that's what I did when I was watching this one YouTuber stream Wildflowers. Mm-hmm. She was like taking a long time and talking about a bunch of nonsense, and I never watch stuff sped up because I feel like I can't understand what people are saying. Like people who listen to audiobooks on 1.5 speed, I can't.
Because if they are talking too slow, you are going to lose my interest. I need you to speed it up.
I will lose parts of the story if they're talking too fast.
I won't put it any faster than I can understand. Like I was watching another video a little while ago, and they were, most of the time accents aren't a problem, but they were speaking with a very thick, I want to say it was like a Nigerian accent maybe, or it was something with an accent. I just can't remember what accent it was, but I sped it up and then realized, oh, I cannot understand you with this accent. And so I had to back it back down to like it was, I think, 1.25 or 1.5, where normally I would put it on 2.0. I had to back it back down because I was like, I cannot understand you with this accent. But most of the time, if I speed it up to 2.5, I can understand you. It may take a little bit
Oh
more focus, but I can understand you.
no. That sounds like nonsense. At 2.0, it sounds like nonsense to me. I can't understand what's being said. I
Nah.
mean, honestly, there are some days where I have such a brain fog that I have to slow down Philip DeFranco. I watch Philip DeFranco every day, and or what every day that he's on,
Mm-hmm.
and there have been days where I have had to slow him down, and he's already at normal speed, and I've had to put him at like 0.75.
Let's see. Ronald says, when I drove to work every day, I would listen to podcasts on 2.0. Yeah, that's what I would do on like my lunch breaks because I want to watch as much as possible, and so I speed it up.
There are so many people who do that. And it's like, I don't understand how your brain can decipher what the people are saying when you put it at 2 times speed. I will maybe occasionally catch like every third or fourth word. I will lose a lot if I put it on 2.0.
See, I will fully just lose interest if you're talking too slow. I have caught myself multiple times watching a TikTok story time, and they are taking so long to get to the point, and I go to speed it up, and I'm like, oh, I'm on TikTok. I cannot speed this person up. I gotta
Oh
sit
no! So
through this.
if I'm on TikTok and somebody takes too long, then I'm just skipping your video.
But like, I want to know what they're gonna say. It's just you are droning. It's
If
either
I
like
can't, if
they're
I can't
talking speed
scrub,
or they're just saying too much stuff.
if I can't scrub the video to the end, it's not that they're talking slow. It's just that they're saying too much. They're giving too much feedback of, I want to tell you this story of what happened to me yesterday. And it was such a long day yesterday. And blah, blah, blah. They're giving you too much preamble.
Mm-hmm.
I I will scrub. I will take my finger and
see
so
for me, some people are just talking too slow. Like, my normal base talking speed, and then also my talking speed when I get excited. I tend to be a fast talker, and I think that is also how I process things. And so sometimes people will be like telling a story, and they're like, so guys, I have got to tell you what happened to me yesterday. So I went to the cafe, and you guys know the cafe I'm talking about. So I went to the cafe, and you will
see that
never
right
guess.
there. I would have already went like this.
Exactly, because they're just talking too slow.
I already went like that.
Yeah, guys, you will never guess what happened to me. I went to the cafe the other day, and you will never believe. You know the cafe I'm talking about. You'll never believe who was at the cafe. I met my barista. We have already gotten to the point. 2 times speed. We have already gotten to the point. And I have not missed anything. I got your little inside joke about the cafe, and we have gotten to the point.
But they didn't need to see. They could have just cut some of that out.
I mean, if they want to say what they want to say it. Just say it faster. Just say it faster.
But anyway, so Physical 100, I would recommend, but you just know that there's going to be some backstory stuff. Because they eliminate, like, it starts with 100, and with the first contest, they eliminate 50 people right away.
Oh.
So that they start narrowing it down really quick.
Okay, so I don't have to worry about wondering who this random person is that I do not recognize because there were 100 people.
They'll be gone after the first.
Mm.
The first couple contests, they're eliminating people quick. We talked about trades. Did you want to say something about the Netflix password crackdown?
Bruh, it blows my mind how they think that it is gonna be okay. How they think that it's gonna be, especially what is funny to me is the circles that I am on, because a lot of the information I'm getting right now is from TikTok, because that is what I spend a lot of my time watching. And so what cracks me up is the people that I follow are people who are like D&D content creators a lot of the time. And so we just had the big D&D OGL thing that I had explained a couple weeks ago about how they were like, oh, you guys can't do this anymore and blah, 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 and you're not going to be able to do this. And then they essentially got bullied by the fans. All the fans were like, okay, we're going to stop buying official licensed Dungeons and Dragons stuff. And we are going to, yeah, that's what I'm saying, Ronald. You know, they backed off on that because they got bullied by the fans saying, okay, you think you're going to do this? We have other options. We will go use those other options. And so the D&D, official D&D Wizards of the Coast people were like, bruh, it was a joke. It was a prank, bruh. It was an accident. And so they backed off of that. And so I saw this happen. And then immediately after, I'm seeing Netflix and they're like, y'all can't do this anymore. If you can't password share anymore. And so I'm like, in my head, I'm like, did you not just see what just happened with Wizards of the Coast?
Yeah, but they've also put out something that said, okay, all that information that you saw, it's not going to affect right away. We're just testing it in other countries first to see if it's going to work. So they kind of backed off a little bit too, saying they're not going to do it right away.
Exactly. I'm just in my head. I'm like, why would you even release any of this information when you just saw what happened with the Coast? And then I have to remember that these groups of these companies are completely different circles. So they may not have even known all of that stuff that just happened with Wizards of the Coast. In my head, I'm seeing them in the same area. And so I'm like, why did you not just see what happened? But they're two different circles of people. But yeah I'm like, bruh, you are going to get bullied just like Wizards of the Coast did. What do you think you're doing?
Yep. And I'm just wondering if they do go through with this, because I saw it on CNN again today where they're talking about Netflix testing the whole, where they're some users starting to get a thing where they have to declare their home or their primary residence because so that they can start testing this whole, to make sure that everybody who's on your account is in the same household. We're screwed if they do that.
Right? The only people that live in that household are you, Daddy, and Isaac. So that's Sydney, Chloe, me, like,
yep,
everybody gone.
Yep.
One of my favorite things, though, is that, all right, y'all, I'm going to get back to resting. Have a great rest of your day. You too, Ronald. Enjoy your rest. Thanks for chatting with us for a while about trashy reality shows.
Bye, Ronald.
Bye, Ronald. But one of my favorite things that happened when that came out was Dropout, the Dropout subscription service where like Dimension 20 and Game Changer, and it's the College Humor one.
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. They posted something that was like, hey, by the way, if you know somebody that wants to watch Dropout that can't afford it, go ahead and give them your password. It's okay on us. And I was like, thank you, Dropout.
Because realistically, the people who don't have it are not going to.
They don't have it for a reason.
Yeah, they don't have it for a reason. Like if something crazy happened tomorrow and all of the services that we as a family use just locked us all out and did something where we all had to be in the same household, they were checking our IP addresses or however they're going to do it to check and make sure that we're all in the same household. If they somehow manage to do that and lock us all out, we're not watching Hulu anymore.
Exactly. I'm not watching Disney Plus anymore.
We're not watching Hulu. We're not watching HBO Max because those are the things that we share with you. And you're not watching Netflix and you're not watching Disney Plus because those are the things that you share with me.
And I guess I'm not listening to Spotify anymore because Isaac's at Spotify.
Exactly. None of us, we're all going to be listening to ad-supported Spotify because that's what we had before your brother decided to treat us all to the family plan. So, I mean, and I know that these are all separate companies, so they don't benefit from us doing this whole round robin approach. But for me personally, I don't see anything unfair about it. I mean, to them as a company, it's unfair because they're not getting your money and you're in a different household. They're not getting Sydney and Chloe's money and they're in a different household. But for us as a family unit, it's fair because we're all sharing. Everybody's paying for something.
Yeah.
and we're sharing it around. So as a group, it works for us. So if they get rid of that, then it's just going to be a bunch of stuff we're not going to watch, which quite frankly is fine.
Yeah, I would be a little bit hurt because there is stuff on like
Mm-hmm.
some of these other services that I do want to watch. That
Mm-hmm.
like I have some of my comfort shows on like Netflix and
Mm-hmm.
like Disney Plus and stuff. But I like if they get rid of that, I am not paying for it. Like
Exactly. Exactly.
I will be
There
upset.
are things.
I saw somebody who posted something that was talking about Netflix doing the thing, and they were like, "By the way, it was in conjunction." So Netflix doing the password subscription thing, and then AMC is raising the prices of their like middle seats in their theaters, which
Yes.
which theater tickets right now are already like $18 for two people to go see a movie. It's like $40 right now. And so you are going to make it more than $40 to go see a movie in theaters. And someone
Mm-hmm.
posted like Netflix and then AMC, and then they're like, by the way, and it started playing like Pirates of the Caribbean music, and like, just so you know, pirating still exists. People are still gonna do this. You
Exactly.
you made it accessible, so people stop doing this. You stop making it accessible, and they will find a way.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, not saying that people should, not saying that it's good, legal, or anything, but like when you are making entertainment a thing only for the elite, the
Mm-hmm.
people who are not the elite are going to find a way to get it.
Mm-hmm. Well, for me in particular, because we're lower middle class,
Mm.
we're not po, but we're
You're not. I am in a different household right now, ma'am.
but we're we can afford some of our comfort stuff. We just can't afford all of our comfort stuff. Like I tell people, now that you guys are all grown up, I can buy real butter,
Mm.
but so not fancy, but fancy for me.
Mm-hmm.
But they, just like we were talking about with with video games and with books and with so many things, I am so spoiled for choice, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much stuff that if they, again, if the imaginary hammer came down tomorrow and I couldn't watch HBO Max and some of these other ones, or if I lost my job or something else and we had to stop paying for a lot of these services, it would be sad for like 5 seconds that, oh, I can't watch. I would miss being able to watch, like when we watch things with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we all as a group.
When we do our little 3-2-1.
Yeah, when we all as a group watch something, watch Too Hot to Handle or something like that, or Old Enough,
Mm-hmm.
in the future we would have to pay. We'd be have to pay 3 different accounts to be able to watch it. And that may not happen. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'd be sad for a second that we couldn't watch group shows.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. But on the other hand, it would make life easier for me because I already can't decide, should I be playing games on Apple Arcade, or should I be playing some of these demos that I have on Steam, or
Mm-hmm.
should I be playing the games that are included with my Netflix subscription because I still want to play Spiritfarer and Oxenfree, or
Mm-hmm.
should I, that's just on the games list. I still have all those games from that bundle that I bought from itch.io.
Mm-hmm.
That's just on the games list. Then there are books that are on my list from the library that I want to read. And then there are books on Kindle Unlimited that I want to read. Then there are a few books that I've actually purchased that are still sitting on my iPad that I haven't read yet. Then there
Yep.
are physical books that are sitting in my house that I have not read yet. So then there's that. Then you add in TV, and it's like, okay, there are shows on Hulu and Netflix and
Mm-hmm.
Freevee and HBO Max that I'm interested in all of these. There are at least 50 movies on in my Netflix queue that I pass over every week.
Mm-hmm. So it's not like you wouldn't have something else to do because there's so many things. Yeah.
There are so many things that if you take this away from me to where I can't have Netflix, which realistically, we're the household that's paying for Netflix. So if they bring the hammer down, y'all are the one who are going to lose out.
Yeah.
But if for some reason I had to get rid of my Netflix, then I'd watch something else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's so many other things. I would watch something else.
Mm-hmm.
So it's for them to think that this crackdown is going to make people buy the thing, and that maybe there are people out there who will buy the thing. Because I remember years ago there was somebody on my Facebook page, we were talking about Candy Crush, and they were like, I hate that I have to pay so much to do. I'm like, you don't have to pay anything, my friend. You can put Candy Crush down and play Bejeweled until your lives in Candy Crush come back, because they're basically the same game. All you have to do is download 3 different match 3 games, and one of them runs out of lives. Go on to the next one because it's the same game mechanic, and they're all free.
Yeah, there's like a small group of people that like are doing this out of the convenience that could afford it, that will buy it if the password gets cracked down. But I sincerely, honestly, do not think it is as many as Netflix thinks that they're gonna get.
Exactly.
Like I feel like they would lose a lot more money than they would gain by this crackdown.
Yeah, yeah. There are people who are sharing passwords just because somebody's willing to let them share a password, but they have the money and they would go ahead and pay for Netflix if they had to pay for Netflix. But then there's people like me that the only reason we're watching Hulu and HBO Max is because we are sharing it with you and y'all are paying for it. I wasn't gonna pay for it. So I was not going to pay for it. So I would have there are shows on Apple Plus right now that I had Apple Plus free for a year, and I watched stuff on Apple Plus for a year, and I didn't get around to some of the ones that I meant to watch, like Ted Lasso, and then it expired. And did I renew it? No, I did not. Nope. Because I'm already paying for too many other things.
Yes, exactly.
And it's not like I cannot afford another $5 to give to Apple, but you know what? I'm already giving y'all $5 to play video games. So
yeah, I don't
make a choice.
There has not come out a streaming service that has something that I'm trying to think of the way to put this. Like, no streaming service has everything. Like, your streaming service is good. You have these few shows, but there's still stuff on other services that I want. There is nothing that will make your service the end all be all for me.
Exactly. Because everybody has a little bit of something.
And there are so many exclusives now that there's no way that you are going to have everything.
Exactly. And let us not forget the thing that I always forget, that I have to remind myself of, although in the opposite direction. You can always get it for a month and cancel it. See, I always forget it in the way that I don't ever sign up for it, because it's like, well, I don't really need this service. It's another $5 a month. But then I have to remind myself, you're not paying $5 a month ad infinitum.
You could just pay for 1 month. You could pay $5.
Pay for 1 month and be done. You know, and then next year you can pay for another month if you want to, when they get a new show.
That's what Wayne used to do for Game of Thrones. We would, before we paid for HBO Max, just like in perpetuity, in forever, whatever word I'm trying to think of, before we were just continuously paying for HBO Max, he would specifically only get HBO Max while the Game of Thrones season was coming out. And then when the season was over, we would stop paying for HBO Max. And then when the season started up again, we would add HBO Max back.
That's part of what I'm trying to do with Apple Arcade right now, is they've got this drop for Wildflowers at the end of this month. And unless I hear something, I'm going to get that drop. I'm going to play my other games. And by the time I play these other games, if I have not heard of another Wildflowers drop, I'm gonna go ahead and cancel Apple Arcade.
Mm-hmm.
There's gonna have to be something very compelling. Studio Dry Dot's gonna have to come out with a new game altogether, or something for me to keep Apple Arcade. But my only other thing that I had in our consumption thing is that I've been watching legacy.com on YouTube.
What is legacy.com?
Legacy.com is a website where you can put an online obituary for somebody. And well, like some people don't live in your town, or some towns no longer have a local paper or whatever where you would put the obituary. So you can put an online obituary, and then like if my friend passed away and they live in Chicago, I could go to legacy.com, find the obituary, put a note to wish their family, condolences or whatever, rather than trying to find them on Facebook or whatever, because it's specifically attached to the obituary. And I just discovered last week that I didn't know legacy.com. I knew of legacy.com because sometimes when we're searching for people as part of my job, a lot of the patients that we see are older, and sometimes we're trying to figure out, what date they died or did they die or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because then we have to close down things in their account and stuff.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you find them on legacy.com. But I didn't realize they had a website. I knew of the web. I didn't realize they had a YouTube video. They started showing up in my recommended for some reason. Apparently, they do videos once a week of like famous people who have died that week.
That's why I've been getting all these messages from you of so-and-so passed away, because you messaged me the other day about the Peeps guy, the guy who invented Peeps, passed away. And I was like, how did you hear it? Because I didn't hear anything about that. And I was like, what?
Yeah, it's like when I say famous people, I think it's kind of like B-list people. It's like they have done something that the world knows about, but you didn't know who that particular person was.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the people are famous, like the Lisa Loring, the woman who played the original Wednesday in the original TV show.
Yeah,
she died last week.
Yeah, I saw that.
And so, like, those are the kind of people, she hadn't acted in anything in 30 some years, but those are the kind of people that they will have on their list. Somebody, the person who created the hula hoop, or the person who created, those are the kind of people they would have on their list. And for some reason, I know it's crazy, but for some reason, I always, like at the end of the year when I watch CBS Sunday Morning, I always wait for the in memoriam part where they tell you about all the different people, because it's not just because during the year you'll hear about the famous people. Aretha Franklin dies, you're going to hear about it. Lisa Presley dies, you're going to hear about it. But like you don't often hear about
these slightly lower tier people.
The person who created Bubble Yum Bubblegum died this week, or the person who created So I like to see who has been skipped over. I guess it's my way of kind of paying respects to people who don't normally get, because I've always been a person who's kind of into the underdog, which we can get to in a minute, as part of my shower thoughts. But I like to at least give them the respect by staying long enough to watch the whole in memoriam thing. And so I do watch those videos. I don't watch them every week because I just discovered them, but
that feels like it would stress me out, because my first thought is when I found out that Jim Henson was no longer alive, it was long after, like he had been dead for a while. I just didn't know. And so I was watching like Labyrinth, and I think I just watched Dark Crystal or something, and then I found out that Jim Henson wasn't alive. And it's not like I was ever going to meet Jim Henson, like at all, period. But I found out that he was not there, and it just like I was so upset. I was just so very upset.
You're not alone. I found out Jim Henson had died when I was in a car with your father, and it came across on the radio, and I cried. And I was not even, And your father did not get it whatsoever because I am not, you know me, I'm not much of a family person,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and like if it's he's like, I don't understand. This person's not your cousin. You don't know who they are, blah blah blah. I don't get it. But it's just like I grew up with
With their
Muppet
stuff.
and Kermit and all that other
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and for some reason that just hit me. And usually, even with other actresses and stars and stuff, it doesn't get me. But Jim Henson, that hit me when I was in that car, and that hit me.
Mm-hmm.
So and not just that, but it's because he was a creator of things that children
Yeah.
see. And I remember them having a TV show where they had to, I'm going to cry just saying it.
Oh
TV show where they had to explain to the children
no.
that Jim Henson wasn't around anymore.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh,
The thing that got me was, so I found out and I was really upset. And then I was like looking up, I think, information about it. And there was like his big like funeral thing. And they had Big Bird. The guy who played Big Bird was singing It's Not Easy Being Green, or like Rainbow Connection, one of Kermit's songs. And he sang it. And I was bawling. I was just like, I lost it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that. I just like to watch the.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing. I might go look at it, but I have a feeling it'll probably just make me very upset.
No, because usually it's people that I didn't really know, so it's like it was just interesting, you know, because they tell you a little bit about their life, and it's like, okay, so it's interesting. I don't know why my nose itches. I'm trying not to be gross, but my nose just keeps itching.
Oh, you're good. Like I said the other day, I've got a pimple coming in on the side of my nose, and it hurts, but it's like irritating. It makes me want to itch my nose.
No, I think there's fiber coming up from this yarn, and it's just like hitting me in the nose. And it's like,
oh, speaking of rotating back to yarny thoughts for a second, I have found my new favorite, like slightly little thing. When I am casting off with my knitting, I will cast off with a crochet hook to make it so much easier to pull those loops through each other. And so instead of the other knitting needle that I've got hanging over here, I will use my crochet hook to go in, because you've got to pull the like top loop through the bottom loop. And so I will use my crochet hook and pull through and just pull it through. And it makes it so much easier than trying to deal with my knitting needle.
I have never cast off with the crochet hook. I'll have to try that sometime.
Do it. I found, because these are 4mm needles, and so I just found my 4mm crochet hook, and it makes it so much easier, because so I've got my two loops here, instead of having to use my needle to like stick it in there and try to pull it through, I just pull that loop through. It's so much easier. I also made this like all wrong. I was looking, not all wrong, but like I could show you the other ones, but I don't feel like digging it out. But what I was supposed to do was on this side where you can see all the stringies hanging, where I changed colors, I was supposed to increase so that it goes out like this, because cups have like they're smaller on the bottom, bigger on the top, and so I was supposed to increase, but I was so busy talking that I forgot to increase. So this is just straight up flat, and so I don't know if it'll fit on the cup at all whatsoever. I think I might turn it into a wristband. It might. It might fit. If not, I'm just going to turn it into a wristband or something.
Okay, well, the only other thought that I had, which will be quick, as I say every time, but I really do mean for it to be quick, because we need to get out of this. Because we've already been talking for almost 2 hours.
Yeah,
2.5 hours.
Yeah, we're at 2.5 hours. There's no point in trying to be quick at this point.
But I've been rethinking my attitude towards owning books.
Mm-hmm.
I've always said, I used to own a small bit of books, but like people say with yarn, there's two different hobbies, you know, buying yarn and collecting yarn and actually making things. Same thing with reading. To me, there's always been two different hobbies: buying and collecting books to look pretty on your shelf, and actually reading books.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been firmly in the camp of actually reading books. I would buy books in the early days, like when I was like when I was 18, 19, 20, because that was the only way for me to be able to read a book. Because the library we had, you could only check out 4 books at a time, and we only went to the library once a month or once every other month. So
Mhm.
I didn't get enough books to read. So for me to be able to read books, I got books from yard sales and library sales or thrift stores or whatever. Whenever I happened to be someplace that had a cheap book, I would pick up a couple.
Mhm.
So but those were like 50-cent paperbacks, which tells you how old I am
Mm.
because a paperback now is like $12.
Yes, absolutely.
Yikes. But and then when your father and I moved in together, your father's not a reader, so he does not see any purpose in buying books. I think he's changed over the years. But when we first got together and we were both young and dumb, he was like, I don't understand why you need to buy books. There's a library.
Mhm.
And me being young and dumb and in love, I was like, oh, of course. And so I didn't buy books anymore. I would just go to the library and borrow books.
Mhm.
So I haven't really. And then when we went through decluttering situations, I got rid of the few books I owned from before your father and I moved in together, which, I'm still mad that I got rid of Finn Family Moomin Troll because it is out of print and I cannot buy another copy. Same thing with my Janet Lambert books. But anyway.
Oh my goodness.
Um but I try not to think about those too much, kind of like I try not to think about Elite Beat Agent. But
You just have to bring it up every time, and it makes me so upset.
I know. But recently I was looking over when I was going to buy your birthday gift.
Mhm.
I happened to come across a few different books and stuff on Amazon, and it occurred to me I added a couple books to my wish list, physical books, and it occurred to me that I don't necessarily mind anymore owning books, but it's a specific how can I say it? Like the romances I read, I don't need to own any of those. I do
Mhm.
not need paperbacks of any of those because I'm going to read them once and I'm good. Okay. Maybe I'll read them twice because there's a couple authors like Louise Allen that I've mentioned, and which hers are only on Kindle. I don't think she has any paperbacks, so that's a moot point. Um, and Nikki Clark is a black author who writes black sci-fi who I love,
Mhm.
and I've reread a couple of her books. So there are of course exceptions, but for the most part with fiction, I'm not rereading it.
Yeah.
But there are some other books like cookbooks that I wouldn't mind having a physical copy of the book, or books that are a reference book, or books that are old books where you're not going to have, where it's not going to be easy to get a copy, like my Finn Family Moomin Troll that I
Mhm.
gave away. If somebody found a copy and gifted that to me, I would like to have it. Or what brought this on, I was just trying to remember what it was specifically that brought it on. What brought this on was I was thinking earlier this week about a book called 1001 Albums to Read Before You Die.
I remember seeing this book. We borrowed this from the library at
Borrowed
some
it from
point,
the
I think.
library. Yes, borrowed from the library. And there's also another book in the series called 1001 Movies to See Before You Die. And they've
Yes.
done updated editions of like the movie one. They have an updated edition from 2021 where they've added some movies
Mhm.
and taken some movies out. But and I was thinking to myself when I looked at those, I said, I might want to put that on my wish list because that would be nice to have on the bookshelf, because you were talking about movies that people give you a hard time for not having seen. It would
Mhm.
be nice to have on the bookshelf, and I could just like annotate on the bottom of the page, watched on this date or whatever,
Mhm.
just to have. And that made me start thinking, well, when did I start thinking that I want to actually own a book? Because usually because I've read the book, why do I need to own it?
Yeah, but that's definitely the kind of book that you would like reread or go through a bunch of
Yeah,
times.
that's a reference. So I think you may, I'm just saying this because you may end up seeing more physical books end up on my wish list.
Mm.
Because for those who are watching, we are a wish list family. We don't pretend to know what to get each other for Christmas and birthdays. So we gave up about 2 or 3 years ago and just started using wish lists.
And it's so useful. It's so helpful.
Because everybody gets what they wanted, and there's
Mm-hmm.
still an element of surprise. Because if you got 15 things on your wish list, you don't know which one they're going to pick to buy you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still an element of surprise. So I may end up with more books on my wish list because there are some books that are just like referencey kind of books or vintage kind of books that you're just not gonna find anywhere, and it's not something that you can just easily borrow from the library.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that I'm putting on my list. You can't easily borrow from the library or can't easily find it like in a Kindle edition that you can flip through right quick.
Also, like you were talking about with the 1001 movies to watch before you die, you can't like annotate in it if you're borrowing it from the library.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Although I never really was much of an annotating person either, so I don't know once I bought it if I would actually write in it because I'd be like, but I might, because I was thinking, it just seems like something that would be nice to have on the shelf. But that's all I had to say about that.
Let's see. What else do we have since we're finally getting into the shower thoughts that have been sitting here for a little while? Okay, yeah, the last one I'm going to talk about, spoilers in the age of TikTok. It is making me so frustrated because it feels like as soon as something comes out, you need to watch it. No matter what you're doing, you need to drop everything and watch it ASAP. Otherwise, you are going to get spoilers if you are watching TikTok. Because just like using Wednesday, the show Wednesday that came out as an example, I wanted to watch Wednesday with Isaac and Chloe. And so I didn't watch it right away. Plus, I was in the middle of watching other stuff. Yeah. And plus, I was in the middle of watching other stuff. And so, but as soon as the show came out, people binged it day one because that's how Netflix puts out their stuff. They put it out all at once so you can binge watch the whole thing all at once. People binged it day one and then immediately started putting out content of, oh, this is why the Addams Family in Wednesday is different from the Addams Family in the previous shows. And look at these outfits in Wednesday. And this character really should have ended up with this character. And people cosplaying and people saying, oh, well, this really triggered me and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I have not seen anything. It just came out. What are you doing? And the same thing is happening with so many other things. And I'm like, how do I, because the thing is, I don't want to completely get rid of that content because once I watch Wednesday, I will understand all of these references. I will like all these things. I don't want to see it, but I need to find some way to like put it off until later because they are not holding back. They are immediately day of putting out content, the day stuff comes out. And I'm like, how do I've gotten so many things accidentally spoiled for me for not just Wednesday, but so many other things accidentally spoiled for me because I am not watching this thing as soon as it comes out. Ugh.
This you call the spoilers in the age of TikTok, but this has been a thing since Twitter. This has been a thing since Facebook. This has been a thing since the internet. But specifically social media, because I think when people just had blogs weren't spread around as easily where you were going to run into accidentally. It's more like with Google, with Instagram, with Facebook, with Twitter, in the era of those things. Because like I was looking up something and I accidentally found out who won the last season of The Masked Singer. And it wasn't, it didn't end my world because I predicted from the first time that character sang their song, I knew who was behind the mask.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it. And it turns out that's who was behind the mask, and that's who actually won the show. So, but to just, I was looking up something tangentially related, not even to the show. I think I was looking up something related to that person, and it came up that they won the show.
It'll come up by surprise too.
So,
Like, yeah, just like you're talking, because I was watching some sort of video of something. I can't remember. It was on TikTok, and I was watching some, like, a video came up. It was like talking about like family dynamics and these families, and this is how families are changing, and blah 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 blah. And that's why the family in the Addams Family in Wednesday, blah. And I'm like, whoa, this didn't even seem like it was related. It was whoa, it blindsided me, and I was like, what? Oh, I was so frustrated.
It's like spoilers were a thing and weren't a thing at the same time when I was younger. It seems like when I was younger, once a movie was out or once a TV show was out, they didn't the phrase spoiler and spoiler alert just did not seem to exist when I was younger, when I was your age or younger.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't seem to even exist. And once a movie was out or a show was out or whatever, if they were talking about that show or doing a review of that show in an article or something, they would just say it. There was no, if you go past here, there's going to be a spoiler or anything like that. Nothing. It would just be there. But at the same time, so people didn't seem to take as much care to try to protect you from spoilers back when I was younger. But at the same time, it was easy to avoid spoilers because the speed at which information traveled was slower. So like if somebody said, like for instance, if somebody said in the newspaper, who killed JR? You may not have read that newspaper article, so you don't know who killed JR, even though it was in a national newspaper. You may not have picked up the newspaper that day, so you still don't know.
Yeah.
Or if they said it on a radio show, I watched Dallas last night and they revealed that blah, blah, blah killed JR. I'm like, it's like you may not have been listening to the radio that day, and it's not going to be recorded in a podcast that can be repeated later for everybody to run across. If you were not listening to the radio at 8:55 a.m., you missed it. And so it's too bad. Just like on TV, there was no way to record shows. So if you didn't see the episode where JR got killed and they revealed who killed JR,
then you missed it.
You just have to rely on everybody telling you what happened. So information just traveled more slowly. So it was easier not to get spoiled, even though I don't think people took extra care about keeping the secret.
Yeah. But now it's so easy for like me on TikTok. I somehow have 14,000 followers on TikTok. Who knows? For anyone who's been sitting here listening to our conversation today knows that I am not a very interesting, not a very important, not a very like extraordinarily like funny or anything kind of person. I'm just some guy talking about stuff. But if I start talking about, I'm going to stick with Wednesday because that's the one that's fresh in my mind. If I start talking about stuff in Wednesday, I could somehow show up on your feed, because I feel like that's the difference between Facebook and TikTok. Is on Facebook is your friend. So like if you tell your friends not to post anything about Wednesday, like, oh, I haven't seen it, don't, or like, or you know that this one friend has seen it, so you can maybe avoid their post or whatever. But TikTok is everybody, so I could end up on the page of somebody 4,000 miles away or whatever.
Because the algorithm is going to boost you because you're talking about something interesting,
or
they're going to show you to everybody.
Or just because I like D&D, you also like D&D, so they know that my content tends to be a lot of D&D stuff, so they will show me to you because you like D&D. All of a sudden, I'm talking about Wednesday, and you've gotten spoiled. Like, it's because everything reaches everyone now. Ugh. Can you tell that I'm mad that things got spoiled in Wednesday for me? Can you tell?
Yes, I can tell.
I
Well,
was. It
I've
was.
almost finished 3 rows of this.
I am weaving in my
And
ends.
my
That
coffee
it's
cup
crazy.
is empty. And we have been on here for 2.5 hours.
Yep.
So anybody who is watching this later, either you're welcome or I'm sorry. Whichever. Well, no, you saying I'm sorry, because if you're still watching this after 2.5 hours, you wanted to watch this, so you're welcome.
Yep. Never I'm sorry, always you're welcome.
So we'll try to tighten this up in the future. We were gone for 2 weeks. I think that's why we blathered on and on, because we were gone for 2 weeks. Next week we won't have as much to talk about or as much to show. So
also, anybody who watches later, because we get a few people in chat. Is this a good time for everybody? Because we have like maybe a little space either earlier or later in the day where we could shift a little bit to like shift when we do it. Is this a good time for everybody
we
to
start
like
watching it. We start doing this at 2:30 p.m.
EST?
Eastern time.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a better time, I don't know about a better day, because Friday seems to be the day.
Yeah, my only other day would be maybe Saturday. I've got Saturday evenings for right now. I'm about to pick up some part-time work, and so we'll see what that schedule looks like. But if my schedule for Saturday is still open, we can maybe work out. But we could do maybe a little bit later in this day, at least, if that works out better for people, or a little bit earlier if that works out for people. I don't know about. I'm not an early morning girly, so we're not getting up at 8 in the morning to do this, but.
Exactly. We are definitely not early morning girlies. But thank you for joining us for the Coffee Klatsch.
Yes.
If you've watched this far, put a coffee cup in the comments, or please just leave a comment at all.
Leave a comment.
So we know that you watched something.
Tell us what you did while you were listening to us blather on.
Because yes, tell us what you did while you were listening to us blather on, because right now we feel like we are talking into the void, and it's okay if we're talking into the void, because I still get to talk to my daughter, so that's cool.
But if you're there, we want to talk to you.
If you're there, we want to know that you're there. But so we'll see you next week.
If you enjoyed everything, subscribe to see us later and keep track with updates. We're working on a Discord. I meant to mention that earlier. I'll mention it next week once I get everything together. Like this video if you enjoyed us blathering on. Leave a comment. Hit the bell so you know when we're going live again.
Are you done?
Yes.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Weaving in these ends is such a pain. There's so many. That's why I hate the color changes, because there's so many ends, because I have 2 ends per color to weave in, and it's so annoying.
Life is so hard for you.
It really is.